Test one, two, test one, two. And we're live. Okay, so I said I was going to be back later today to continue this. Holy fuck. It just never ends. Bro, I'm getting so far behind in this shit. So Ethan debated Hassan Piker. I was finally able to cover that late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, bleeding into that time. Then iDubbbz drops a content deputy. Then Hasan and iDubbbz react to Ethan Klein's content nuke. Then Ethan Klein has to react to Hasan reacting to the content nuke, which was reaction to Hasan and a dressing down of Hasan. Holy fuck, guys. Holy shit. There's so much shit. Oh my god. And it's never ending. It really isn't. It's the best time of the day. It's just never ending. I don't know. We're gonna have to like start doing some other stuff on this channel because it's the shit never is ending, and it's just the same talking points recycled over and over and over again until there's like little bits of petty drama that can be thrown in there to spice up the lot. Like when Ethan's like, well, you say that I worked with the ADL on Steiny's podcast, and I never worked with the ADL. I never had a 1099-C form from the ADL. And then Hassan's like, okay, but you took credit for what the ADL did. Hey, thanks, Usman. So, it's just ridiculous. Where were we? Let's just start with this. Ethan Klein was responding to iDubbbz's content deputy, which I still haven't seen. Maybe we'll watch that today. Yeah, it's like... At this point, I'm not even really covering politics. It really is just petty drama. So I'm going to try to do more of it because like Ethan Klein is still saying some stupid bullshit. Also, there's a new reason. Like I'm trying to make some edited videos so that people don't have to sift through hours of my stream to actually understand what I'm trying to say. So that's a big reason why I'm covering this too, so that I can actually hear what they're saying and then like write down clips that I can use for videos that I'm trying to produce. That's a real reason why I'm watching this, and if I'm going to be watching it anyway, might as well be watching it on stream with you guys, and not like ruining the rest of my life off stream. So that's a big reason why I'm covering it, but goddamn, it's just getting so tiring. Like, look at this shit. It's like disarming the content nuke, almost 9 hours of footage. The Ethan Klein Hasan debate, almost 5 hours of footage. It's so miserable to get through. And these people they're just like Ethan Klein and Ela are so bad, but the issue is they're spreading so much fucking misinformation. They're spreading so much misinformation, and I don't know if there's people. Like, I'm sure there is, but I don't know if there's people, like, going through every single part of the podcast. I don't know, guys. Like, I don't watch Denims. I don't watch Shonda Black. Who else? Who else is covering this? I know that, like, they cover the big parts of the podcast, like, they cover the debates and stuff like that, but do they cover all of this shit? Overzealots did a great video about Three Worlds and Ethan's use of it. We're taking years off our lives with this situation. Infinity and Beyond? React to Infinity and Beyond? What the fuck? Okay, yeah. It's just so much reaction. So, where were we? We were doing debate. He was recapping the debate with Hasan, which I think is really interesting. And you'll notice how... That's a fairly good ratio. Like, once again, this isn't really politics. This is petty drama where we're going to psychoanalyze Ethan Klein. But he has a conversation with Hasan. Hasan holds him to a point. He says, the audience is getting bored. We're losing the audience. Let's just move on. I concede the point to you, Hasan. And Hasan's like, okay, that seems disingenuous, but you're saying you... By the way, this is a pretty funny pause frame of Dan. You're saying you concede the point to me, right? Do you actually concede the point to me? And Ethan Klein is like, yeah, let's move on. Then the next day, Ethan will come out and be like, Hasan's a radical terrorist. He's a piece of shit. I didn't concede any points to him. My wife actually isn't a terrorist because she volunteered. Or no, she didn't volunteer. She isn't a terrorist because she was forced to sign up. It's forced conscription. Everyone knows that all terror orgs are volunteer based. They're actually like nonprofit organizations that run solely off of the goodness of volunteers choosing to sign up for it. Um, anyway, it's so funny. Kindler did a good react. He's gonna do mini debunks. Wait, mini debunks of what? Mini debunks of what? Of the debate? Look, if he does mini debunks of the debate, I mean that's fine. Um, it's going to be less important than the nuke because obviously Hasan was there to check Ethan in real time. Anyway, I don't really care about watching their reaction to the iDubbbz video. I just want to hear like his recapping of the debate because I think it's so funny. And also how his crew tries to like suck his cock and make him feel like a big brave little boy.
I made like one statement that they were able to clip in 5 fucking hours. You know,
I love like how stupid of a thing that is to say. You have a clip in front of you and then you say, oh, well, they only got one clip out of 5 hours of content. No, they didn't, Ethan. You're just watching a single clip. Like, this is like a caveman living in a cave and he thinks the cave is his entire world because that's just the wall he sees in front of him.
I guess that's a fair.
Me outs, how's it going?
Yeah. Also, you didn't pee the whole time. That was impressive.
That's the most.
If anyone says you're on drugs, the fact that you didn't pee for 5 hours, I think that proves it alone.
People say every time I go to the bathroom, I'm doing coke, apparently.
Well, it just makes you use the bathroom more.
5 hours without coke? How long's a coke high last?
15, 20.
Bro, I saw a Bad Empanada video where he pointed out AB got like dental work done, and I can't unsee that now. Every time I see AB, I just can't unsee the dental work that he got done. Yeah, it's a lot of cope, which is like it's a fun stream, right? Watching a copium stream, that's fun to do. Let's just and like there's a reason that I'm not covering American politics that much because it's dismal right now, and there's not much that people can do. Like you can protest, that's great. It's literally not doing anything. A general strike is like more effective than protesting. You can call your Congress people, and I think that is one of the more effective things you can do. And I think you should organize too. I honestly just don't know enough about organizing and affecting politics without going through Congress and your representative and your senator and stuff like that. So that's something that I'm trying to like learn more about myself. And once I learn more, then I'll let you guys know. But like, the issue is obviously Democrats don't have any power. We're in a very depressing state of affairs with American politics. And honestly, like I feel like I should be doing a better job of calling it out. But this is like more of like a fun little contained escape thing to do. However, the interesting thing, like one of the reasons I thought I bring this up is because they don't talk about that shit on their show either. They're like, Republicans are bad, but they don't actually say why the Republicans are bad. They say that they're bad because they say like out of pocket things, or they did an AI video about colonizing Gaza. But the only thing that we ever heard them talk about on this show that is a bad thing that Trump did is the tariffs, because that's personally affected them. Notice how they didn't have anything to say about the student protesters being deported by the administration, basically kidnapped, black bagged, tortured, put into detention camps for weeks without any kind of due process whatsoever. Trump administration officials sending out letters to students that were recorded as being a part of like a pro-Palestinian protest, telling them to self-deport, like tens of thousands of students receiving that letter, people being targeted by their freedom because of the content of their speech. And you don't hear a peep out of this guy whose whole thing was freedom of speech. We actually like are doing fair use for content. It's transformative content. You're trying to like shutter our speech, and actually we should be legally allowed to say these things. So the whole freedom of speech guy is suddenly completely quiet when the fascist president is cracking down on speech that he doesn't like. This is the exact same thing you see with conservatives who would always cry about getting banned off of Twitter for being racist on Twitter, and they cry freedom of speech. But then when there's an actual fascist government cracking down on people's rights to speech, then they are completely silent, and actually they serve to justify it. And Ethan Klein, I think, has done a big part in trying to crack down on freedom of speech. And maybe we should cover some Asmongold stuff too, because he is advocating for Hasan to get banned because of Hasan's speech. So that could be something we cover as well. And I honestly think that Asmongold and Ethan Klein are two sides of the same coin, which is just being used by this fascist regime to justify shutting down anti-authoritarian, anti-fascist speech from people like Hasan. And Ethan Klein is the perfect allegory for ineffective liberals who basically are like, they just do outrage politics, but they have no real substance at all. He is an example of the status quo. He upholds the status quo. He liked being able to work with factories in China to sell his clothes. He was rich. The world was working for him. And so when Hasan comes in there and he's like, I think we should give the poor people more stuff, like more equal rights. They should have a share in their workplace. Ethan's like, whoa. A share in the workplace? Maybe we could do some things to improve their lives, but fundamentally changing the status quo, I'm not in favor of that whatsoever. His ideology is literally what Kamala Harris was representing. And then he gets outraged by people like Hasan when Hasan's like, yeah, I have no problem with people resisting against Israel. I have no problem with people putting an embargo on Israel or on the Red Sea until Israel stops genociding people. And Ethan Klein says, that is outrageous. The genocide is fine, but people resisting against the genocide, that's outrageous. So it's really this faux outrage that Ethan Klein is presenting, and that's kind of his politics. He's like, what I agree with, that's not outrageous, but people that are criticizing what I agree with, that is outrageous. That kind of speech should not be allowed. And that's a tool that fascists use too. That's a tool. Like, this kind of liberal outrage is what is allowing fascists to crack down on freedom of speech when they are using the excuse of anti-Semitism running rampant on college campuses. That's a great excuse for people for the Trump regime to pressure colleges into teaching what they want, into not teaching what they don't like, basically like controlling the curriculum, and also banning immigrants and banning people that are speaking out against the government. So anyway, what am I trying to say here? Basically, Ethan's a liberal and he's running defense for Republicans. That's what I'm trying to say here. And I do think Ethan's going to become a Republican. Like, yeah, I don't see him shifting to the left again. He's just going to keep shifting more and more right. And what the other thing that I'm saying is, it's not a coincidence. It's not just a happy little accident or an unhappy accident that Ethan Klein isn't talking about the negative things Trump is doing. It's by design, because he supports those things. And so why would he talk about students getting deported for speaking out against Palestine? That goes against the narrative that he's the biggest victim in the world because he supports Israel, and he gets some negative comments on his YouTube videos every now and then. So that goes against the narrative that he's a victim, and it also is something that Ethan likes. Ethan likes it when people that are speaking out in favor of Palestine get deported. He likes it when they get deplatformed, debanked, and like, I'm not gonna say he likes it when people get hate crimed, but he likes it when they stop talking. So maybe the byproduct of a hate crime he would enjoy. Anyway, yeah, he's like 10 years ago conservative. He's not a fascist, not yet. He supports fascism in terms of effectively supporting Donald Trump's regime by not criticizing him at all, and effectively supporting Netanyahu's regime by basically blaming Hamas for the genocide that's going on. Like, fucking insane that he's doing that. But yeah, that's our daily dose of real politics. Let's get back into the drama that he's doing. Let's get back into the minute details of how exactly Ethan Klein is holding up, basically like attacking progressives and in effect defending the status quo and defending the fascists that are ruining everything.
minutes.
15, 20 minutes.
And you've never once shared?
Yeah, Neil
I
lived.
get it from you, Dan. What do you mean? You're my supplier.
Yeah, take that title away from me. That's what the snark says. I'm Ethan's supplier.
What? You're the coke dealer? You've been holding out on me too?
No, because we were joking about Vyvanse once.
I see.
That's what Hassan meant when he said you need Dan more than he needs you.
He's my guy. He's my supplier. He's my drug dealer. No. I personally, I don't think there's anything I can do to prevent this. It's just not possible. And the other clip of me that came out that was good that I see a lot of people quoting is me articulating myself using expletives and passionately that that the way Hasan approached this is maybe you know the clip that everybody keeps reposting.
Nope. Are you asking me?
About how he says, well, your failure to address
The suffering, both
the
parties
suffering
need to
of-
address both parties'
Yeah.
sufferings.
Okay, well, I remember that part of the debate, yeah.
Well, anyway, it got clipped a bunch. If you,
Yeah.
I think it's the top. of the week
Walmart
you send that
Tuco
along.
Salamanca.
Go look for the clip. But like,
That's funny.
you know,
I'm watching Better Call Saul right now. Just finished season 1. Ethan Klein looks like Tuco Salamanca. Kind of. I can kind of see it. Like about 50 pounds lighter.
I'm not going to apologize for being. I'm defending.
It's kind of
literally-
quiet.
I'm literally sitting here defending my people against blatant, overt, widespread, socially acceptable racism. The erasure of an
Wait,
entire
what?
group of people.
Bro, once again, like, this is just insane schizo posting from Ethan. He's just saying things that didn't happen. He's saying that Hasan is erasing the struggles that Jewish people went through when they were expelled from Arab states. And, like, I don't need to explain. I mean, I did explain already, but the reason that people were criticizing Ethan for saying that it was because of the fucking Arabs that Jews became Zionist, like that Arab Jews became Zionists. First of all, they are Arab Jews. Why are you saying the fucking Arabs? So are you saying it's because of themselves? Then you also have the double standard where Ethan he's charitable down to a fault about the genocide that's happening in Gaza and saying that it's not all Israelis, it's just a slim fraction of Israelis that actually support this, and it's Netanyahu's government, but he doesn't have popular support. And so, like, you can't say that all Israelis support the genocide in Gaza. Okay, but you can say that all of the Arabs just as a collective decided to pogrom Jews. I mean, you're also ignoring the fact that, like, the Zionist project of creating Israel created a lot of tension between Jews and Arab communities, or Jews and non-Jewish communities in Arab states, and that was by design, like that was planned. Yeah, you're saying that the Arabs just became anti-Semitic, and if you take this to his conclusion, that's why an ethno-state is needed, because otherwise the Arabs would just pogrom the Jews again. And that's why Hasan kept saying that, well, they're not, the Palestinians didn't do the Jewish expulsion. But in Ethan's mind, an Arab is an Arab. So an Iraqi that might have been anti-Semitic is the same as a Palestinian. And since Jews were expelled from Iraq in like the 70s, then if you give one person, one vote for Palestinians and Israelis, then the Palestinians are going to want to expel Jews from Israel as well, which is just called racism. Like, if you take the actions that one country did one time and then say that, oh, well, their ethnic group is similar to this other ethnic group, so that, like, this new ethnic group is going to do the same thing. That's just racism. That's what we call racism. Anything Klein is too dumb to see that. Did I miss a chat? Bro, how the hell does AB stay there? This man brought Lonerbox to genocide tonight. Oh my god, he did bring Lonerbox on today? Oh my god. Bro, I hate Lonerbox so much. People used to know what right to return meant. Feels like they don't anymore. Avi Shlaim also talked about how he and his family are Iraqi. Hader Cohen also talked about similar things Arab Jews have talked about being de-Arabized by Jizn-Trail. Okay, I'm sorry. Jizn-Trail. You know what? That's a good point to bring this in. So let's take a look at this, because Avi Shlaim is someone who's important to talk about. He was brought up on the in the debate. Let's see what he had to say. I think Avi Shlaim is really famous for saying that it was actually Mossad which planted bombs, which caused a lot of Iraqi Jews to leave Iraq. Let's see what he has to say here.
Viewed the world and your place in the world.
Yes, I would say that most definitely, because we lived in Iraq, we spoke Arabic, linguistically, and
Hallucinogender, it's hard to watch. I reacted to this today. It took 3 hours to get through 30 minutes. Wait, what did you react to, though? Did you react to the responding to iDubbbz's content deputy? Anyway.
Naturally,
we're trying to learn now.
Much more in common
no talking.
With other Iraqis, whether Muslims or Christian, than we had with our co-religionists from Europe. We didn't know very much about their lives in Europe or their cultures. So yes, I would say culturally we were Arabs first and foremost. And
yeah, I mean, the idea that this man has to explain that, like, growing up in Iraq makes you culturally an Arab and you have more in common with Iraqis than you do with, like, Germans is actually just an example of how toxic the idea of Zionism is. It's like Zionism exists to, it's like almost like a scalpel where you're cutting out all of these Jewish communities from around the world. You're separating them from their neighbors. Like, literally down the street, you're separating Jewish people from their non-Jewish neighbors, and you're being like, no, now you are now different than these people. We're claiming that you're culturally similar to Israel, and we're going to put the label of Jew as opposed to the label of Arab, and actually Arabs are the enemies, and so there is no such thing as a Jewish Arab. There is no such thing as a Jewish person that doesn't support Israel. We are defining you by your support for Israel, and so you can't be an Arab, you can't be an anti-Zionist, and you can't identify more with your home country because, you know, you need to be a supporter of Israel. You need to be an active supporter of Israel in order to be a good Jew. And like, bro, what the fuck? You see Ethan Klein talking about Jewish people and how he talks about the ones that don't support Israel, and it's disgusting. It's dehumanizing. You see Ethan Klein talking about Karl Marx, and he literally says, Karl Marx wasn't Jewish, he was a communist, stripping away his Jewishness. His chat calls Sam Cedar a real capo. In the chat when he was debating him, he like literally has grown his chat to be like, Sam Cedar is a self-hating Jew. He's a capo Jew. He calls Matt Lieb a token Jew. He's called Sam Cedar a token Jew. He calls fuck, I always forget that guy's name. The guy on the Arabs podcast, he calls him a token Jew. And then he will sit there and be like, oh yeah, there's Arabs in Israel and then there's Jews in Israel. But then he'll also be like, but there's so many Arab Jews. Well, which is it, dude? Like, he's literally just doing Zionist propaganda when he says there's Jews in Israel and then there's Arabs in Israel. Bro, by definition. Like, I guess not by definition, but there's so many Arab Jews in Israel. Like, they are Arab Jews. But no, they had to make like a new name for it. What the fuck is the name for Arab Jews? Arab Jews demographic. Arab Jews is a term for Jews living in or originating Mizrahi. Is that what it is? The term is controversial and politically contested in Israel, where the term Mizrahi Jews was adopted by the early state instead. However, some anti-Zionist Jews of Mizrahi origin actively elect to call themselves Arab Jews. Opponents argue that Mizrahi Jews have historically not identified themselves as Arabs or Arab Jews, and many would take offense at being labeled as such. I mean, bro, if you're living in Israel, and Israel every day tells you that Arabs are the enemy, why would you want to call yourself Arab? This is a complete destruction of Jewish culture for thousands of years in the Middle East. And then some fucking pieces of shit are like, I want an ethno-state. Let's do an ethno-state. And then they're like, you can't be Arab anymore because you're Jewish and I declare that Arabs are the enemy. So come on, you're not Arab, you're Mizrahi. Let's just say that you're Mizrahi now. Actually, like, it's actually just disgusting. And now we're at the point where Avi Shlaim has to come on and be like, we were Arab, and that's like groundbreaking to people, and that actually goes against the narrative that people are taught. Yeah, that's the other thing. Ethan's like, oh yeah, have you ever gotten tested? Sam's like, no, why the fuck would I do that? And Ethan's like, I'm 99%, what did he say? I'm 99% Ashkenazi. Sam's like, okay, I'll take your word for it. It's so gross. It's such a gross, like, it's just a gross racist ideology. It really is. Why did it also say it was a Nazi position too? Does that have anything to do with it? Is it a Nazi position? I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, let's continue.
Judaism was second.
Many people listen to this.
So he just said, we identified ourselves as Iraqi first, Judaism was second. Like, yeah, why? Like, once again, this shouldn't be surprising to people. But it is. At this time, it is, because Israel, and by extension the United States, has tried so hard to describe the situation as Jews versus Arabs.
We'll probably not know a world where there are large numbers of Jews living in Arab and Muslim countries. But I suppose this was the norm prior to 1947, prior to World War II, in fact, where large numbers of Jews lived in Muslim countries as part of that society. Is that something which was a norm for a lot? You mentioned Jews were in Iraq.
Like, okay, we're gonna play more of this. I just need to give you guys a pop culture moment real quick, which I do think is relevant, because like, this is something that introduced a lot of people to this conflict. Hopefully the music doesn't get... Here, I'm gonna mute this for a second. So, Larry David, there was a delicatessen opening across the street from a Palestinian chicken place opening. And obviously, this is an allegory for the Israel-Palestine conflict. And I mean, this is, as much as I love Larry David, this is an example of Zionist propaganda. Obviously, it's done in a humorous way, boiled down to a delicatessen versus a Middle Eastern chicken shop. But you have the Jews, like literally the Jews on one side, and the non-Jewish Arabs on the other side. And obviously it's like the white Jews versus the brown Palestinians. And then Larry David gets caught in the middle of it. This is like a big pop culture moment. A lot of people watch this show. And this is how this conflict is being represented, as Jews versus Arabs, Jews versus Palestinians. Obviously, it's represented as an equal. Here, let me move my camera. Obviously, it's being represented as an equal. Both sides are equal. Both sides are valid. Like the meme, the final meme of the show is that it's literally Larry David caught between two equal sides, and he has his culture and heritage on one side, which is the Israeli side, but then he has his love for his lover and his love for the Palestinian food, like the Palestinian chicken, on the other side, and he's torn. Like, it's literally portrayed as two equal sides. Like, I don't need to describe how, like, this is obviously not true. It's not an accurate reflection, but it is Israeli propaganda. It is saying that it's like, no, Israel is representative of Jews. All of these cultural Jews just naturally support Israel. If you're a good Jew, you support Israel. Like, let's see if we can hear what the characters say.
Larry, come join us over here.
Come with us, you're a Jew.
No, Larry,
Come with us, you're a Jew. You have to support Israel, you're a Jew.
to this side and I'm yours. Larry, I'm yours. whenever you want. Come over here.
Larry, you belong with us. Come.
There's no decision. Get over here. Larry.
Like obviously the context is that, or not the context, but the understanding is that if you're a Jew, obviously you support Israel. Like that is the assumption that this show is making. And it's funny, right? It's like, oh, a Jew that might not support Israel, that's the joke.
I have a sister. You, me, and Yasmin. The three of us. All right, that's enough. Just get the fuck over here. Just get the fuck over here. Stop being an idiot. Larry, come over here. Larry!
Don't be a
Get
dick.
over here.
Don't
Just
be a
listen to them,
dick.
Larry.
Get over.
Don't be a dick. So yeah, if you support the Palestinian story, you're a dick. Once again, like, I think Larry David is awesome, but like, I'm not expecting that much of him. When you have someone like Bernie Sanders doing this exact same thing, this exact same equivocation between both sides. Well, Israel has a right to defend itself, but, you know, like, we probably shouldn't be giving them that many weapons. It's like, okay, well, you're kind of misunderstanding the whole point of Israel, which is the point of Israel is colonization and genocide and ethnic cleansing. And like, you have the most progressive person in the country in Bernie Sanders, and even he can't get it right. It's like, are we going to really try to hold Larry David to this? This isn't a condemnation of Larry David. What this is an illustration of how even a comedy show is presenting this, and how even a comedy show is doing this, like, both sides equivocation. And obviously Jews need to support Israel because you're Jewish. So that's an example of Avi Shlaim being like, or the reason I brought that up is because Avi Shlaim was talking about how, well, I'm Jewish, but I was Iraqi. I was Arab first and Jewish second. And you can see how that dynamic has been completely flipped onto its head, where now, if you're Jewish, you're Israeli first, regardless of like where your culture is, where you live in the world, what your political affiliations are, how you view everything. Like, once again, Bernie Sanders, the most progressive person in the country, and even he supports Israel. Even he can't recognize that Israel is an ethno-state. Like, this whole idea has been flipped so hard. And then you have people that are outspoken anti-Zionist Jews, like Matt Lieb, like Felix Bitterman, like Sam Cedar, and they get spurned and called a self-hating Jew. They get called anti-Semitic. They get labeled as not real Jews. So it's just obviously really gross. It's just racist stuff. But anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, here we go.
Before the advent of Islam, for 2 millennia, and you cite the Babylonian exile, which is a very, very important period in history for Jews. So my question...
oh yeah, I agree, man with long last name, Jesus Christ. I agree with you. Like, we shouldn't really be criticizing Bernie Sanders. We shouldn't really be criticizing AOC, because the point is to stop sending weapons to Israel. What I was just trying to say is that the idea, like the belief that if you're Jewish, you must support Israel has become so ingrained in our society that you see it in Curb Your Enthusiasm. You're even seeing it in the actions of Bernie Sanders. Like, he's like, I'm not going to support Israel militarily, but I'm still going to support Israel in order to hold its ethnic borders and in order to hold its Jewish ethno supermajority. Which is what people mean when they say it has a right to defend itself. That's what people mean when they say that.
I suppose is.
And Avi Shlaim can recognize that he literally lived through a time, and he's written tons of books about it. He remembers a time when you could be Jewish and you didn't have to support Israel. You could be Jewish and you could also be Arab, and you didn't have to feel bad about also being Arab. You didn't have to forget that you're Arab and label yourself Mizrahi. You could be a Jewish Iraqi and be proud of that fact.
The integration, where you say it was very integrated, that seems to be something far off. Whereas, is it as far off and as I suppose, more of an ideal now than it actually was back in those days?
My memoirs have excited a lot of interest in the Arab world. And the reason for that is that any Arabs or Muslims who were born after 1948, after Israel was established,
hey, me outs, you're a legend.
No idea of this reality that I describe in the book. That all they know is Israel and the Palestinians, the conflict.
Yes.
They wouldn't know that once upon a time, the Middle East.
Bro, get this man a real chair. What the fuck is this barbershop shit? Like, oh, you get a chair. It's a fucking single stick molded into the shape of an L. Try to not fucking look. It's not even comfortable. It's like angled so he slides off of it. There's no armrest at all. It's not even big enough for the person. It's a tiny ass motherfucking chair. And oh my god, dude, get him a real chair. Come on.
The landscape was totally different.
Also, that studio looks bad.
And that's partly the reason that I wrote my book, and that is to recapture and reanimate a distinct Jewish civilization of the Near East, which was blown away in the 20th century by the cold winds of nationalism.
So basically, I mean, obviously, I don't have to explain this to you guys, but Avi Shlaim is depicting a time when Jewish people had a culture that wasn't just Israeli culture. And I think that is something that Israel did that was an intended consequence of Israel that people aren't really talking enough about, but it's literally just cultural erasure. It takes Jewish people, it takes these people from all over the world, and especially in Arab states, because a lot of Jewish people emigrated from different Arab states, and they all had unique cultures. They all lived in different parts of the Middle East. And then they go to Israel, and they're told, you can't be Arab anymore. Here's the new culture that you're going to have to adopt. You're going to have to speak Hebrew. We're going to also speak English, because now we associate and identify more with the West rather than whatever Arab country you came from. So that is cultural erasure. Why would you speak Arabic if you are an Israeli and Arabs are labeled the enemy? Like, loss of language is a huge indication of loss of culture as well. Like changing culture. Like, languages are dying out in Israel. Why would you speak Arabic?
Iraq was a very good example of this kind of pluralism that I'm talking about. In Iraq, there were many minorities. There were Christians, there were Chaldeans, the Catholics, there were Turkmens, there were Yazidis, and there was a long tradition of religious tolerance, of live and let live by the different minorities. So we as Jews, we didn't stand out. We were one minority among many. Iraq did not have a Jewish problem, in inverted commas. Europe had a Jewish problem. In Europe, the Jews were the other. In Iraq, the Jews were not the other. They were one minority.
And this is something that I say all the time. Ethan Klein tries to make the point that Israel needs to maintain its apartheid structure, because if they ever gave Palestinians equal rights as the Jews, then they'd be pogromed. The Jews would be pogromed by the Palestinians. Because the Arabs, I mean, okay, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole here, and hopefully it's not gonna be too deep. Content nuke, Hassan Piker. So because, and I'm just gonna let Ethan make this claim for me.
Boothie fuck.
Oh wow, what a great fucking frame to port in on. So Ethan tries to make the claim that, we need an ethno-state because if we don't, the Arabs are going to be pogromed, or the Jews are going to be pogromed by the Arabs. And we know that the Jews are going to be pogromed by the Arabs because the Arabs did it before with the Jewish expulsion from Arab states. Okay, let's see. Where did he play this? He's like 900,000 Jews, and Nakba was bad. Hassan. I thought it was like earlier in this content nuke. Like, why would they not feel bad? Dissolve. Okay, here we go.
October 7th attack, Israel should just dissolve its borders and let Hamas enter Israel unrestrained.
Borders. What do you think Israel should have done in response to October 7th?
Instead of indiscriminately bombing,
we saw this.
Israel should have.
Oh yeah, I think this is what I think this is part.
There. Is it really insane to think that
would be to democratically take Netanyahu out of power? Yes.
The problem is that Israel's been at war with its neighbors for 70 plus years, and it makes a lot of sense that there be some distrust there. Is it really insane to...
So he said Israel's been at war. So like, let's just be honest. The reason that so many Jews left Arab states is because of Israel. It's because Israel was warring with all of these countries, and this war caused nationalism. It also caused them to, understandably, well, not understandably, but it caused nationalism in Arab states, and then a lot of these nationalist right-wing governments did scapegoat the Jewish populations, and there were hate crimes against Jewish people, and that is to be expected. It was expected by Zionist organizations that started that founded Israel. Like, they expected Jewish populations in their neighboring states to be targeted by harassment and hatred. The example I use is if, let's say, Canada declares itself a white ethno-state, why would people, you would expect white people in America to be harassed. It's like, oh, why are you living in America? There's a white ethno-state 100 miles north. Just go there. So yeah, people aren't going to like it when there's an ethno-state right next to them. That's not a good thing at all, because it's fucking racist. But anyway, so Ethan says, but just notice what he says there. He says their neighbors have been at war with Israel, so why would they give Palestinians equal rights as Israelis? Well, the Palestinians aren't the neighbors. They've been occupied by Israel. Saying that Palestinians are the same as Iraq, saying that they're the same as Egypt, saying that they're the same as Yemen, Lebanon, that is racist. And so, you're literally blaming a group of people that you're occupying for the actions of other countries on the basis of their perceived race. You're saying that Palestinians are the same as all of these other Arab nations that attacked Israel, so why would we give Palestinians equal rights? That's just racism.
To think that Jews, as an ethnic minority in Israel, would...
Okay.
First set of actions would be to democratically take Netanyahu out of power. Yes.
The problem is that Israel's been at war with its neighbors for 70 plus years, and it makes a lot of sense that...
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. What I said is that's an oversimplification of Jewish exodus of Arab states. That just happened, that is what happened in some places, but then other places it's Jews left of their own accord, and for different reasons. So that's definitely an oversimplification, but, every single instance of Jews leaving each Arab country is very specific, and there's a lot of details to get into. That's why I oversimplified, just to do just so we can move past this and get into Ethan Klein's racism and not do a fucking 5-hour-long history lesson.
There'd be some distrust there. Is it really insane to think that Jews, as an ethnic minority in Israel, would not be safe? After all, Israel is a country of refugees. If the Jews didn't come from Europe after the Holocaust, they came from the surrounding Arab countries that expelled them in massive amounts following the 1948 war. In fact, there was more Jews displaced than Palestinians during the Nakba. 1 million Jews. All of these surrounding Arab countries had vibrant Jewish communities in huge number, hundreds of thousands. Now, if you look at them, you're looking at close to, if not literally, 0 Jews left in these countries. Just to give you.
Okay, so what is Ethan Klein saying there? He's saying that why would Jews want to live as an ethnic minority in Israel? Why would they want to do that when they're a country of refugees? Basically saying that Jews in Israel have a history of when they're the ethnic minority, they get discriminated against. Thus, they must never be the ethnic minority again. Notice how the Palestinians, who would be the only people getting equal rights as Jews, have never done pogroms against Jewish people. Like, you can say that they've resisted against colonization and ethnic cleansing, but they literally have never had an ethnic majority where they've done a pogrom on Jewish people. And Ethan Klein points to all of these other examples: Europe, Iraq, Egypt, Libya, all of these other examples of where Jewish populations have left, and that is a justification for Israel to not give Palestinians equal rights. So once again, that's racist. And then the other thing that I find so funny from this point is that Europe has pogromed and genocided Jewish people way more than Arab states ever have. But Ethan is fine with Jews living in Europe. He doesn't care about that at all. But what he does care about is the fucking Arab states not being able to control Israel. He has no problem with Jews living as an ethnic minority in Germany, living as an ethnic minority in England and in France. He doesn't have a problem with Jews living as an ethnic minority in Europe in general, but he does have a problem with Jews living as an ethnic minority in Israel? Well, maybe it's because Ethan is white and he's racist against Arab people. Maybe that's the reason why. He claims that Jews can't live as an ethnic minority because of the pogroms that they've experienced and because of the injustice and the oppression they've experienced whenever they are an ethnic minority. But he only cares about it when it comes to Arab people. He really doesn't care about it at all when it comes to the white Europeans. Anyway, let's continue this. So Avi Shlaim just said that, Arab states never had a Jewish problem. European countries did.
Iraq did not have a Jewish problem, in inverted commas. Europe had a Jewish problem. In Europe, the Jews were the other. In Iraq, the Jews were not the other. They were one minority. The Jews did not live in ghettos. This was a very pluralistic world, which was with a distinct culture, political culture, which came down from the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire seems centuries away.
Yes.
And it doesn't have a good reputation, but it has its saving graces. And although it was a Muslim empire, it was multi-ethnic and multilingual, and it afforded a large measure of civil and religious rights to all the minorities. And the Jews thrived under the Ottoman Empire. And the logic of the Ottoman Empire was pluralism. After the defeat of the Ottoman Empire, when the colonial powers reshaped the Middle East in their own image, nationalism was the guiding principle.
Yes.
So under the Ottoman Empire, the logic was pluralism, whereas in the post-World War I landscape, nationalism was a dominant force, and nationalism is a very divisive force.
Yes.
It's us and them, Jews and Arabs, Jews and Muslims, Israelis and Palestinians.
Yes.
So the political culture of the Ottoman Empire, the ecumenical culture suited the region much better than the nationalist framework of separate nation states with borders between them and never-ending conflict. So an Algerian Berber under the Ottoman Empire could go all the way to Istanbul without a passport. It was all open. Whereas the peace settlement that was imposed on the region by the victorious powers in the First World War, Britain and France, this didn't suit the region and its culture. And I call it the post-Ottoman syndrome. And the key feature of the post-Ottoman syndrome is lack of legitimacy. The rulers were handpicked by the colonial powers. They were not legitimate. They were not elected. The political systems were
Foreign
They were foreign. They were not democracy. There was no peaceful means of bringing about political change. And the borders of the new Middle East were illegitimate because they were artificial borders cutting across live communities. This is what I call the post-Ottoman syndrome, which has produced never-ending strife and conflict and bloodshed right until today.
So,
okay, so when I watch a little bit more of this, oh my god, let's just get into this bullshit. Let's continue. I mean, let's live up to the name of the stream.
Yeah.
With laughing and giggling and
like
and
you're so crazy. Those are Zionist talking points.
He says it's Zionist talk. He told me it's Zionist talking points.
Yeah.
That Middle Eastern Jews were expelled from their homes. That's a Zionist talking point. That's my problem.
I mean, it could objectively be that. But does that inherently mean that it's false?
But how,
yes, and with the way that you use that as a talking point inherently means that it's either manipulative or false or
It's taken away from the fact that that's just the historical fact. Like, he's making it sound like that. I don't know. When you say that's a Zionist talking point, it takes away validity from
the Trail of Tears was bad. Oh, that's just a Native American talking point.
That's what he's saying.
If you're having like an assembly and there's like Native American representatives, they're like, this was on the Trail of Tears and my family this and that and I think this and that, and they're like, oh, just another Native American talking point.
Yeah, I got you.
Do you think the Native Americans left because they were forced out? No, they actually wanted to move west. Most of them actually wanted to move west because the weather's better.
They could right now. They could go tomorrow.
And just look at what's going on, where somebody can, and on the left, this is again the patient, the tolerant ones, to come out in front of like, I don't know how many people are watching that live, 300, 400, 500,000 between like everybody streaming it, and to just look into the camera and say that the Jews in the Middle East they were left by choice, the most of them, because Zionism. You know, it's like,
once again, like, who's saying they left by choice, the most of them? Hassan's basically calling you out for saying that it's the Arabs in general were the ones that expelled the Jews. And also comparing it to the Nakba. Ethan Klein did say that, oh, did you know that even more Jews were expelled during after the 1948 war than Palestinians were in the Nakba? Comparing the exodus of Jews from Arab countries to the Nakba is actually insane. The Nakba took place over like 9 months. The exodus of Jews from Arab countries took place over 30 years and were from a variety of factors versus one genocidal army intent on ethnic cleansing. So I think that was the biggest thing Hassan was calling you out for. So if you want to say that calling it a Zionist talking point is downplaying the tragedy that Jews went through, then what the fuck do you think comparing the exodus of Jews to the Nakba and saying that the exodus of Jews was even worse than the Nakba? What do you think that is doing? Like, do you really think that that's not downplaying the Nakba at all, Ethan? The fucking Nakba that Israel literally has laws saying that federal funds can't go towards commemorating the Nakba at all because it's so bad they don't even want any kind of mention of it, then they're trying to erase it from their history. You don't think that's downplaying it even a little bit, Ethan?
It's hard to really
convey. Which is what Hasan called him out for in the first place.
I understand your black pill feelings on it because I feel the same way.
It's just like there's nothing.
Of course Zach does.
No, because God forbid someone sticks up for Jewish people. God fucking forbid. God forbid people talk about the atrocities that happened on October 7th. God fucking forbid. And it's so frustrating that people just can't just say that because they're Jewish. And God forbid people speak positive about Jewish people. It blows my...
Bro, you're actually so dumb. You're actually... Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who's saying you can't talk about October 7th? What? Did you... Like, Hasan is criticizing you because you're not talking about the genocide, right? He never said you can't talk... Oh my god, dude. Why am I even talking about this fucking idiot? Holy shit. Oh yeah, we can't talk about anything that bad that Jewish people have experienced, according to Zach. Because I guess just everyone's anti-Semitic. Everyone hates the Jews now. No, dude. You're comparing Jewish people leaving Arab states over the course of 30 years to a genocidal ethnic cleansing campaign done over the course of 9 months. That's what people are criticizing you for doing. You know, and you're crying about October 7th still? You're saying we can't talk about October 7th when you're getting criticized for not talking about the genocide? And you're going to sit there and be like, why aren't you letting me talk about October 7th? You talked about it. You did talk about it. You can still talk about it. But if all you're doing is talking about October 7th and you're not talking at all about the hundreds of thousands of Palestinians currently starving to death and dying of a lack of food, water, and electricity and medical care, then you're kind of a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, at some point, let's talk about the tragedy that's happening right now that we can put an end to. Maybe we can do that.
Fucking mind.
You know, it would have been the easiest thing from the world to be like, yeah, the Jews got displaced and that's horrible, right? But two wrongs don't make a right or whatever. And that's true, right? Two wrongs don't make a right. Obviously, we all learned that when we were 5 years old.
What is he talking about?
That is an important part of the equation because people want to go, oh, the Israel-Palestine conflict, it's not complicated at all. One guy's good, one guy's bad. Well, that's not exactly the whole story. 1 million people were forced to relocate there because they could not live anywhere else.
So now they get to be racist?
So, like, this... You know,
wait, did Ethan Klein just justify genocide? Bro, wait, what? He's like, two wrongs don't make a right. But, wait, what the fuck? One group is genociding another group of people. One group is bad because they're genociding. One group is good because, you know, they're not actively genociding. That's what makes them... Wait, what? Let's just break this down. So Ethan says the genociding group, Group A, can't just be called bad, blatant, like point stop, because something bad happened to Group A. So because something bad happened to Group A, we can't call them bad. So you're basically saying that the bad thing that happened to them does justify the bad thing that they're doing now. Am I right, chat? Am I right, or am I losing my mind? Did he just justify Israel's genocide by saying that, well, Israel's a country full of refugees? What the actual fuck? Did he actually just say that, like, no, he's not even what-abouting genocide. He's not being like, well, you're talking about the genocide, but, I mean, what about the ethnic cleansing? He's saying that the ethnic cleansing justifies their actions. That's the ethnic cleanse, or not the ethnic cleansing. The fact that Israel is full of refugees, which it's not, like, we should take a look at the demographics, but it's been there for a long, like, for fucking 75 years now. Well, maybe 68 or whatever. Anyway, Israel's been there for a long time. It's not just made up of refugees anymore. And a lot of people chose to settle in Israel. But that aside, let's say that everyone in Israel is a refugee. Ethan Klein is saying that, well, I mean, they're morally complicated because they are refugees. No, they're not, dude. Being a refugee doesn't give you some kind of moral gray zone for now being able to carry out a genocide and ethnic cleansing campaign. What the fuck are you talking about? He literally said it's morally complicated because they're refugees. So now people that are victims can do reprehensible things in Ethan Klein's mind. Okay. He straight up defended it by saying there was trauma in Israel in a stream discussing Hasan lately. Sorry, not narrowed down. Yeah. But did you see his hairline? His hairline is not even good. Like, just because it's not receding doesn't mean it's a good hairline.
That's true, right?
Sorry to break it to the
right.
H3 fans
we all learned that when
watching.
we were 5 years old. But that is an important part of the equation. Because people want to go, oh, the Israel-Palestine conflict, it's not
Zach
complicated
was
at all.
an extreme narcissist.
One guy's good, one guy's bad. Well, that's...
You know who he's quoting right now? He's quoting Michael Brooks, another Jewish person. Michael Brooks famously said, and other people have said this as well, but I think online in these circles, Michael Brooks was really for the first person to like have a clip where he's like, it's not a complicated situation at all. It's a colonial oppressive power versus people that are resisting against that oppressive power. That's my view of it. It's just colonization. That's it. So he's quoting Michael Brooks there, who's another anti-Zionist Jew that so tragically died in 2020. Okay. Zach is based. And when I say based, I mean he's just using his brainstem. He's using the base of his brain.
Obviously, we all learned that when we were 5 years old. But that is an important part of the equation. Because people want to go, oh, the Israel-Palestine conflict, it's not complicated at all. One guy's good, one guy's bad. Well, that's not exactly the whole story. 1 million people were forced to relocate.
I mean, just listen to how many excuses he has for defending the genociders, right? The IDF is mandatory conscription, so you can't blame Ela for being a part of it. Well, Hamas has hostages, so of course Israel is justified in nuking the Gaza Strip. And yes, they have used enough TNT. They've bombed it enough to be equivalent to like multiple nuclear bombs. He hasn't really justified the complete siege and the cutting off of food, water, and any kind of other aid. He hasn't justified that at all, but it's only a matter of time. He's justified Palestinians getting bombed by Israel because Hamas didn't build bomb shelters, which is insane, considering Israel says go to these one safe zones where we're not going to bomb, and then they bomb the safe zones. Like, absolutely insane that he's talking about. And now he's justifying Israel's genocide by saying that they were victims of pogroms and they're all refugees. So they're kind of justified. You can't morally condemn them for doing a genocide. Like, he's quite literally saying you can't morally condemn Israel for doing a genocide. Okay, so then what's the logical conclusion? They're kind of justified in doing the genocide. If you can't morally condemn it, then there might be something there. There might be some kind of logical reason for why they're doing it, some justification for it. That's what he's saying. There is a justification for it, and the justification is that Israel's racist. So he has so many fucking excuses for Israel carrying out its genocide that it's just disgusting. Like, if about your fifth excuse for genocide, maybe you're pro-genocide. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there. By the time you get to number 5, your fifth excuse for why Israel should be genociding Palestinians, maybe you're pro-genocide of Palestinians. Like, just an idea.
There because they could not live anywhere.
Like, what, you need 5 in a row for bingo? I think Ethan hit a bingo.
Anywhere else. So, like, this, but like, how easy would it have been to acknowledge that? But he refused to even do that.
Acknowledge what?
He refused.
That Israel has a moral justification for carrying out ethnic cleansing in Gaza and the West Bank? Is that what you wanted him to acknowledge? Actually insane. Like, you want Hasan to acknowledge, like, he just said it. He wants Hasan to give an excuse to Israel to carry out ethnic cleansing. This guy's delusional.
To even do the most obvious and basic concession to anti-Semitism. And in fact, did the opposite. He accused me of being racist.
Right. And I thought the same thing with Sam Cedar in that moment where you showed him the clip of Hasan, and instead of saying like, yes, this is dangerous language.
Oh my God. She's attacking Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar, another one I want to burn.
He was saying what you're doing is dangerous.
Yeah? Did you take a single millisecond to self-reflect and be like, maybe it is not a good idea to say that Israel is a representative of all Jews, and say when you criticize Zionists, which are fascist supporters of Israel, Ethan Klein then says, well, all Jews are Zionists. Maybe that's not a good thing to call all Jewish people in the world fascist, right? Maybe that's not a good thing for Ethan to do. Did he take a single microsecond to self-reflect on that, or no? Did he just completely ignore it and block it out of his mind and say that Sam Seder's a self-hating Jew?
I seriously was like, I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now.
Honestly, when I look at someone like Sam and how he behaved in that moment, I don't know. I think he feels like he's got something to prove. Like he needs.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. Sam Seder's just a token Jew. He needs to prove that he's a token Jew. Dude, shut the fuck up. You're such a loser. Sam Seder gave you a fucking gold star education on the dangers of conflating Zionism with Judaism. And you just sit there and you're like, I can't believe how much of a token he is. Why don't you listen to what Sam Seder has to say? Because you respect Sam Seder. But no, that's the breaking point. Now we can see the breaking point for Ethan. And it's if people support Israel or if they don't support Israel. That's the breaking point for Ethan in all of his relationships. Why do you think he's such good friends with Steiny? Because Steiny supports Israel. That's why. That's why he's friends with Steiny. That's why he broke up with Hasan, because Hasan doesn't support Israel. That's why he broke up with Frogan. That's why he broke up with Sam Seder. Who the fuck else? That's why he broke up with iDubbbz. He was even willing to be friends with iDubbbz. Until iDubbbz made a video being like, you're doing Israeli propaganda. You're a piece of shit. Then he broke up with iDubbbz and threw him under the bus. Holy fuck.
I don't know how else to explain this absolute abandonment of sanity that we saw him exhibit there, and completely fly off the handle. He's the calm one, and he's coming here getting worked up at me. Somebody said, I haven't seen his Jubilee. He did a Jubilee video, which apparently was very good, where he debated like 20 Trump supporters or something. And someone's like, he wasn't even...
No, he's not saying that he has to prove it to Ethan. He said that Sam was trying to prove his anti-Zionist chops to people like Hasan. That's the theory within their community, that Sam Seder's just farming his audience off of Hasan, which I think is so departed from facts that it's actually adorable that they think that. It's actually adorable that these little brainlets think that Sam Seder is trying to grift on Hasan's audience, who Hasan himself is grifting to the left. It's like there is no true left in their minds. Everyone's a grifter. It's actually so fucking ridiculous.
As mad in that video as he was at Ethan when he called in.
I don't know how to explain it.
You're and this is all in service
of... Yeah, you don't know how to explain it because you're fucking stupid and everything you're saying doesn't make any sense.
It was very good, where he debated like 20 Trump supporters or something. And someone's like, he wasn't even as mad in that video as he was at Ethan when he called in.
I don't know how to explain it.
You're and this is all in service of the guy, by the way, who says Anne Frank.
I should look at the interviews.
Is like Anne Frank, who, by the way, died before she got a chance to resist. The guy who says that looks in the face of rape victims and says we only have circumstantial evidence. Actually, we need more. We need forensic evidence, which is a standard that exists nowhere. Saying we need forensic evidence to believe that this person who saw.
But where is the logic? If they died, they were murdered, and then this is a crime scene that was in such a mass scale. They couldn't even clear the bodies in time, and then you have the religion, which you need to bury the body as soon as possible. That's their Jewish religious. That's how they do it.
He didn't even know that somehow.
Okay, well, you can say that it's as soon as possible and still do a forensic analysis of the body. That could be under the as soon as possible. That could be wrapped in under that category, right? Oh, we just need to do this forensic analysis, so let's do that as soon as possible, and then we'll bury the body.
So I'm sorry, there's no time for what you're talking about. But what? Nothing is. We cannot rely on any information that comes out of the Jewish
that's
victims.
What he literally said. We only have circumstantial evidence, which, when talking about sexual violence, is a standard that exists nowhere for anybody else other than Israelis. Nobody anywhere else does. We only have circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
First-hand testimony, bro. What the fuck more do you want? And this guy's the hero. That Sam
And the poor few that did survive the Nova Festival, they live in such torment now. There's one that even killed themselves because they couldn't bear what they saw and like the fact that they survived it. So I just can't believe that these people even want to argue this. Like, why argue this? Like, why can't we just agree?
It's just about winning. It's all that matters.
Yeah.
For me, it's not. For me, it's not. That's why I'm able to concede stuff. And for me, it's about actually wanting to understand the situation in a way where we humanize everybody, where we can actually create a lasting peace. One that's not built on like hate and a want for revenge and a want for violence, right? Of being like two people who are both been harmed historically, both are traumatized historically, to look at each other not as enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I looked into this whole like, guys, at the end of the day, this is the deal. There is no evidence of mass rapes. There is some circumstantial evidence of rape occurring, sexual assault happening. Okay, the lead Israeli prosecutor has claimed that they don't have enough evidence to convict anyone. Like you can read, I'm reading this article right here. You can say this is biased, but they're just quoting Moran Gez, who handled cases against Palestinians swept up after the Al-Aqsa flood operation. She's calling for mass executions even without any substantial evidence against them. She admits that Israel has little evidence against any specific individual. As Yannette puts it, the biggest difficulty is evidentiary, using evidence to link a specific crime to a specific defendant when dealing with dozens of crime scenes where hundreds of suspects were caught and thousands of offenses were committed is almost impossible. But her claim that there is just too much evidence to be sorted out appears to be spin aimed at obfuscating that in many circumstances the evidence might not be there at all. Ordinary laws of evidence are not suitable in this case. There are no organized chains of evidence. There is no one who filmed the videos you would want to present in court. So anyway, in her Yannette interview, Gez confirms that after 15 months after the events, Israel still has not identified a single victim in which a prosecution can be brought against an alleged perpetrator of a sexual attack. Unfortunately, it will be very difficult to prove these crimes. In the end, we have no complainants, noting the vast gap between public perceptions and factual reality. Comparing what was presented in the media to what will come together in the end, it will be altogether different, offering the usual spin that this is either because the victims were murdered or because women who were raped are not ready to reveal it. But this frequent excuse for why no victims have been identified cannot account for the total lack of forensic, visual, or credible eyewitness evidence, especially when the sexual attacks were supposedly so widespread on 7th of October. And this is not for lack of trying to find victims. We turned to women's rights groups and we asked for cooperation. They told us that they were simply not approached. In other words, no one came forward. This corroborates the experience of the NYT, which extensively canvassed Israeli hospitals, rape crisis centers, sexual assault hotlines, and other specialized facilities, and could not find a single victim of a 7th of October sexual attack. No one had met as a victim of sexual assault. Despite this, Schwartz, as the New York Times led by Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Jeffrey Gettleman, went on to publish the notorious article Screams Without Words, supposedly corroborating the mass rapes. And then there was like a huge example of journalistic fraud. So anyway, guys, like, this is the thing. There's no forensic evidence. There are some eyewitness testimonies that aren't independently corroborated. Like, there's no 2 eyewitness testimonies that corroborate the same thing. There is circumstantial evidence of genital mutilation, people with their legs spread, people with their clothes ripped off. But, I mean, if you don't have any kind of, like, other evidence, then you can't really say that that's a mass rape that was happening. So, like, at the end of the day, is there a difference between someone getting mass raped and then murdered or just murdered? There's not really a difference. The crime is really, like, the crime of murder is still fucking bad enough to have the punishment of, like, life in prison. If you go in and you kill civilians, then yeah, I'm sorry, you should have life in prison. Being like a rapist on top of that isn't going to change your punishment effectively. It's not going to change your punishment. The reason that people are bringing up these claims without actual evidence, and you can hear Ethan Klein, it's not like he's done the work and researched these claims that he's supposedly throwing into the face of Hasan, because every time he brings up a first-hand account of sexual violence, it didn't occur on October 7th. It occurred within Gaza to the hostages. He has actually no accounts of sexual violence happening on October 7th. So the reason people bring this up is to try to paint what Hamas did as like they're barbarians. They're not just soldiers resisting. They're not just resistant fighters. They're actually barbaric people that are anti-Semitic, and they're basically human animals. That's the whole idea of this. That's why Ethan's so fixated on it. That's why people are trying to combat that narrative by being like, okay, well, where's the evidence? I'm not denying that rape happened, but you need to show me that rape happened, and not just say that, well, a few people like saw gang rapes happening. Like you need to give us more than that. You need to give more than secondhand accounts of either hearing rape happening or seeing it off in the distance and then going over there. Like, that's why the lack of forensic evidence is something that people are pointing to, and they're like, okay, well, you're making this claim, but the evidence isn't really meeting the claim that you're staking out.
But as like they're both the victims in the situation, they're brothers, they're cousins, they should be united, right?
Right.
But it's people like Hasan and everyone else. They want.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Joe. Like, it's literally the same as this is a white supremacist talking point where you need to protect the women from the non-white barbaric people that are threatening the women. Why do you think the Laken Riley Act is called the Laken Riley Act? It's because she was a young white woman who got murdered by a brown person. It's the perfect example of how white supremacy utilizes white femininity as a way to discriminate against brown people and minority groups.
Want war. Hasan looks at the people in Gaza who are protesting Hamas. Every day there's...
Okay, calling it a protest against Hamas is actually insane. Like, there were some anti-Hamas elements of that protest, but bro, Israel was genocide. Israel is genociding them. Israel was genociding them during that protest. They were protesting Israel. You look up any article, and even the most Zionist articles are like, yeah, these protests were against Israel first and foremost, but let's talk about the parts that they were protesting Hamas. So calling them a Hamas protest is insane. And once again, that's a Zionist talking point, saying that Hamas is the cause of the genocide. If only Hamas gave up the victims, if only Hamas self-dissolved itself and said, you can do whatever you want to as Israel. If only Hamas did X, Y, or Z. If only they came up with like the perfect cheat code to input into the Zionist remote control, then the genocide would stop. Palestinians aren't stupid. They know, like, they're protesting Hamas, but it's first and foremost protest against Israel because Palestinians know that Israel is the cause of this genocide.
Still out there protesting Hamas, chanting shit like Hamas is terrorists, Hamas get out, stuff like that. He not only does he belittle their activism by being like, oh, that's not why they're actually there. He tells them that they need to keep fighting. He wants them all to fucking die. You know?
Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how Ethan gets into this mindset. Once again, what Ethan just said, he says, Hasan tells Palestinians to keep fighting. Hasan wants the Palestinians to die. What is the assumption here? The assumption is that Palestinians are dying only because they are fighting against Israel. If Palestinians simply stopped resisting Israel, then Israel would stop killing them. Yeah. The assumption that Ethan's making here, and he's not saying it out loud, but he's saying it in so many words, is that the Palestinians are being killed because they're resisting Israel, because they're not being good Palestinians. Ethan Klein is in favor of good Palestinians, but he's not in favor of the bad Palestinians living. If you dare pick up a weapon and resist Israel, you shoot at a tank, you throw a rock at a wall. Remember, Ethan Klein justified Israel sniping people in the Great March of Return because there was Hamas activity during those marches. We looked up the marches. What was the Hamas activity? They were throwing rocks at the wall. They were burning tires to try to create a smoke screen so that the snipers couldn't blow their heads off. And Ethan Klein called that Hamas activity. So if you pick up a rock and you throw it at a tank, or you throw it at the wall, or you even march into the wall and you threaten to enter Israel, then that is Hamas activity, according to Ethan. That is resisting Israel, and that's why you're dying. You're throwing a rock at a drone. You're coming close to the border of Israel. You must be eliminated. You must be genocided. Ethan Klein is saying, you're dying because you're resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. I'm going to shoot you if you don't stop resisting. It's like, I'm just trying to breathe. You're crushing my lungs. And then they kill you. Man, Ethan Klein should have just been a cop. He would have been so much happier. He would have been so much happier being able to wield his mediocre power over the people that he can find that he thinks he's better than. Yeah, at least the masks are off. I mean, at some point, like, I do feel like Ethan kind of forgets he's on a show because he says such fucking evil shit.
It's so obvious to me. And it's so
it's so obvious to you?
It's
so obvious to you. It's so obvious to Ethan Klein that the Palestinians should just stop fighting. All right, I'm going to write this down. 46 minutes. So I want to make a few different videos. I want to make a video on Ethan Klein's Zionism/racism. Maybe those should be two different videos, but they're probably going to be the same thing. I want to make a video on Ethan Klein's harassment. Palestinians should stop fighting. And I also want to make a video on his anti-Semitism. Okay, let's play it.
It's almost like it's just blackpilling. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
Like how anyone can watch that debate and draw any conclusion other than Hasan is like
Ethan should follow the black pill logic then and withdraw from society. I think that would be a great idea. Like, he should swallow the black pill and just withdraw from society, close his channel down.
An insanely bold-faced, psychotic, literally open
Bald-face, it's not bold-face.
Who blames victims of rape, who celebrates terrorists, by denigrating the memory of someone like Anne Frank.
Bro, what? Celebrating the terrorists by denigrating Anne Frank? Bro, his obsession with this shit is weird. It's actually weird. Like, Ethan Klein only likes Anne Frank if she's a perfect little innocent 13-year-old girl. How old was Anne Frank when she was writing her diary? About like 13, 14 years old. And Ethan Klein only likes the story of Anne Frank if she's a pure, innocent, unstained by the world young woman. I mean, Ethan Klein has fantasized about, he has had sexual fantasies about underage girls before. Granted, the Boston Marathon survivor was 17 and he did that for video. I mean, I'm not saying it, but it's a little weird to me that Ethan Klein would not like Anne Frank as much if she resisted against Israel, or not Israel, if she resisted against Nazi Germany. If she said that, you know, I hate the Nazis, if she wrote that in her diary, then he wouldn't like her as much. A little weird to me that if she showed some signs of maturity, he wouldn't have been a big a fan of her as he is now. But yeah, and he says that Hasan comparing Rashida al-Haddad to Anne Frank is denigrating the memory of Anne Frank. Maybe in your mind, Ethan, maybe in your mind. I don't think other people are getting pissed off about that unless they're extremely Islamophobic.
He couldn't even make the most basic concession of being like, this sword had a swastika hilt on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, you posed with it. There was 10 swords. You managed to pick that one for some reason. You're on record saying that, oh, this is the swastika sword, right? You can't even concede that maybe we should remove the post. It wasn't intentional, but I see what you're saying. Not only that, it was the Arab tier list. Me and Ben Shapiro in the thumbnail. I cannot concede that this maybe looks bad and that and this wasn't. And we should be more thoughtful. He can't concede. What was the other one? There was like a third one of like. Was it the ADL thing or was it something?
Oh, the ADL.
The ADL one. He can't concede. He looks in my face and says, no, partner doesn't mean what you think it means. Working with doesn't mean what you think.
I love how he's like, Hasan can't concede. That's something that he said in his last conversation with Hasan too. He's like, Hasan, I keep conceding every point. Why don't you ever concede? And it just shows how disingenuous Ethan is, because in his mind, he thinks conceding something just means let's move on with the conversation. Why would Hasan concede a point he doesn't believe when Ethan concedes points all the time in the conversation when he obviously believes in the point still, but he's like, okay, fine, you win, let's move on. Dude, that's not a way to actually talk to people. It's so weird. Why would he concede to that?
I'm sorry, partnered?
He cannot make a single concession. That, by the way, wouldn't like jeopardize.
That's because he has good positions and your talking points are stupid. That's an indictment on you, not him. Dude, if you had better arguments, like, you're not, what the fuck's happening? If I'm debating someone, I'm like, wow, he couldn't concede on that. Why do you care about him conceding it? You should have good arguments that prove him wrong, not just trying to browbeat him and be like, I'm a victim, just change your positions to help me out. No, dude, like, people actually, I mean, at least Hasan believes the things he's talking about, and your arguments were shit, and that's why you didn't change his positions on anything, because your positions are shit, your arguments are shit, Hasan's positions are good, and he knows enough about these positions to defend them well.
Position, it wouldn't put him on the back foot. It wouldn't do anything. If he was like, you know what, the swastika hilt thing was kind of.
He's literally just describing how he lost the debate. He's like, Hasan never conceded anything. He was never on the back foot. He never second guessed his position. Dude, you're describing how you lost the debate. We got to run this back.
Kind of like. Was it the ADL thing or was it something?
Oh, the ADL.
Yeah, it's more about the aesthetics.
He can't concede. He looks in my face and says, no, partner doesn't mean what you think it means. Working with doesn't mean what you think it means.
I'm sorry, partnered?
He cannot make a single concession. That, by the way, wouldn't like jeopardize his position. It wouldn't put him on the back foot. It wouldn't do anything. If he was like, you know what, the swastika hilt thing was kind of it was definitely like, I'll say that was a really unfortunate accident. That would not jeopardize his position in the least bit. What it would do is showing a Jewish person a tiny bit of empathy. Instead,
he showed Ethan so much empathy in that debate. I can't believe he's crying about it. Like, he literally was trying to change Ethan's mind. He wasn't just trying to like clown on Ethan. He was trying to show him why he was wrong, and Ethan refused to listen to it. If you're trying to change someone's mind, that's being empathetic to the person.
He says I'm crazy 3 times in a row to what are obvious. Even if, and I gave him the credit, I say, maybe they're accidental, okay? But you need to at least admit that I'm not crazy for looking at this and raising an eyebrow. No, you're crazy. You're hallucinating.
Ethan?
And it's unbelievable.
Ethan.
I mean, it's evil. Frankly, it's evil. And again, go back and...
Not showing empathy to Ethan Klein and calling him crazy is evil. Okay, dude, okay. I mean, you're justifying the genocide of millions of people. But no, being mean to you and calling you crazy, that's what's evil. All right, dude. Okay.
Watch that debate. We pretty much don't disagree on anything. Like on the big sense of like what's happening in Gaza.
Oh, what's happening in Gaza?
You don't even know what's happening in Gaza.
And so once again, I'm public enemy number 1 for these people. But I agree with them on all the key points of what's happening.
Bro, you literally just victim blamed. You literally just victim blamed the Palestinians. You said they're getting genocided because they resist Israel. And then, and before that, you just justified Israel for carrying out an ethnic cleansing because They were pogromed and they're a nation of refugees. So it's kind of, it's not so morally clear that what they're doing is bad. You literally said those words. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. No, you don't agree with them on everything. What the fuck is happening? You just justified the genocide and then you blamed the victims for the genocide. Holy shit. No, you're a piece of shit, Ethan. You don't agree with Sam Cedar and Hasan on basically everything.
Happening there. The only thing that I'm asking for, that I've ever asked for, is a drop.
Ethan's like a kid, like a few weeks before Christmas. The only thing that I've ever asked for, the only thing that I'm asking for, like, try to bargain with his parents. Come on, can't Santa get me this one thing? Dude, it's not about you. Just chill the fuck out. You fucking self-centered piece of shit. Holy God, dude. Oh, if you don't agree with my definition of anti-Semitism, you're a piece of shit. Sam Cedar's like, actually, your definition is anti-Semitic. Ethan's like, no, fuck you. You're a couple. You're a self-hating Jew. You're a token. You're just trying to get Hasan's audience, and you're acting to get Hasan's audience. His interlocutors can never actually hold the positions they hold.
But I agree with them on all the key points of what's happening there. The only thing that I'm asking for, that I've ever asked for, is a drop of empathy.
A drop.
A drop of understanding.
Bro, spare me with this fucking therapist bullshit speak. Oh my God. You think the world's gonna be solved because two podcasters get together and they have empathy and understanding because they come together and they form a new element in the crucible, which is podcast, like cross podcasting with each other? What is happening, dude? You've led a harassment campaign against every single person that's spoken out publicly against Israel, that's even remotely in your media sphere. And now you're asking for a drop of empathy. Hasan was defending you the entire year, being like, Ethan Klein's a good guy. He's not actually the issue. He's not a Zionist. He's just saying some callous things. And now you want a drop of empathy? Dude, shut the fuck up. You've called Hasan like a terrorist. You've called him an anti-Semite. Why don't you give a drop of empathy to Hasan instead of calling Hasan evil for calling you crazy? You are crazy. You're a crazy, self-centered piece of shit.
For Jewish people.
Oh, for Jewish people.
That's it. That's all I needed.
Just remember, every time he says Jewish people, he means himself. Every time he says Israelis, he means himself.
So
Sorry,
small.
I was laughing at.
No, I know. That was very good. That's it.
You need to have empathy against Jew, or you need to have empathy for Jewish people. But if you're an anti-Zionist Jew, then you're not a real Jew, and you're just a token. Yeah, Ethan, the paragon of empathy over here, just begging for empathy and a drop of empathy and understanding.
Just one.
That would actually be a hard tattoo if Ethan got it, like a teardrop, empathy, like a teardrop, empathy, teardrop, understanding. That would actually go pretty fucking hard. Or like a person's face with the teardrops, empathy, understanding on the Teddy Fresh shirt. That'd be pretty sick.
That's it. All right, now they're doing too much. I didn't ask for that much empathy. It's utterly blackpilling. And wait till we watch this Ian video. You guys are going to lose your fucking minds. Anyway, let me thank our sponsors.
It's utterly blackpilling. It's utterly blackpilling. Unethical React. He's got to thank his sponsors. Oh, Mood. Okay. He's not on drugs, guys. He's just selling THC vapes. But yeah, Ethan's not on drugs. He just does like a bucket of Zins every day.
He's actually on a phone call right now.
In the bathroom? Okay. On a call.
Anyway, she seems to be doing very well.
I think she's getting pretty close.
Yeah, get Gila's face. No, he should do like Gila empathy on the dog's face on his arm. Understanding.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's crazy. The first crew baby.
Yeah.
Crew babies.
We got a crew puppy this week.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a crew baby.
Gila tramp stamp.
Come in, baby.
After he called her a terrorist, so, I think he is going to need a tramp stamp.
Again here. Let me refer to my doc. Sing it.
Oh God, what the fuck is going on? I thought this was the debate recap. Come on,
I have this
timestamp.
on my phone, and anytime Hila says,
Would have
It's
a
gonna get
problem
me
if that happened.
demonetized.
Hila goes, "Can you take Someone's squeaking. You got a squeaky there, Olive? Cute. It's Olive.
It's Olive, not Ducky. Zach.
What do we do for Olive? We have the Alfredo one. Alfredo. I know it was you, Alfredo.
I know it was you, Fredo.
Olive? Olive Garden commercial?
I've been.
Oh, what is going on? Are you recapping the debate or not?
No.
Just some random Jewish guy? Why is that valid to speculate? Hassan, I'm getting there. You're getting ahead of yourself, buddy. Here's an example of it being used in an anti-Semitic way. I'm sure you'll agree. This got turned into a whole sidetrack where we start arguing about this guy, who, by the way, has put out a great video. He's like, actually, Hassan, I was a huge fan of yours. I loved you. I loved you, and in that moment, I knew exactly who you were. I just hadn't seen you in that shot, which is what we said. He says he stopped being a fan of Hassan because he's not close enough to God, and that was a recent
development.
Yeah, so I say justice for dating and money 101. Justice for my boy.
Watch the unedited full live stream. We
Play the clip again?
on a cloud chase.
I'll play it again. This part is totally irrelevant to what I want to talk about.
God, what the fuck?
Oh, what happened?
Who stalked you is a fan of mine. You said.
Can you just link me the part where this debate is so fucking long that scanning through it is like not super helpful. It's like 10 seconds every time you push the key. That's not getting me anywhere.
Oh God, this is a boring clip. I thought we had a better clip.
Okay,
Jesus,
calm down. No,
hey,
it's not.
docket team?
No.
Bro, give me the meat of the clip.
You got it all wrong, Kim. It's not like that.
Nah.
Here it is. Thank you.
I don't think it's an outright lie.
I worked with the
you took credit
ADL.
over it, didn't you?
Sorry. I worked with the ADL. What does that mean?
Yeah, as in like worked alongside. I don't think you're in the ADL.
Oh, that's what you meant when you said I worked with the. Who's believing that? But it gets even worse. Even worse.
I mean, is that better? Is that better according to Ethan? Worked alongside the ADL? That seems pretty much exactly the same as saying he worked with the ADL. It's just a different word. It's not working alongside is not really creating more distance than working with. According to Ethan, I guess that's defensible, but saying you're working with someone, that's not defensible. And once again, just call him out for his shit, but he can't, because when he calls him out, when he actually tries to not do a semantics game and just actually go into what Hassan's saying, what Hasan is saying is 100% defensible. That's why Ethan Klein can't actually get into it.
I feel like maybe the dumbest, most pathetic losers could be like, that's some level of plausible deniability. The second one removes any doubt. ADL. I worked beside them, just incidentally together. You didn't mean that I worked with them privately to get people banned? Of course not.
No, I do think that.
Didn't you say you choose your words very carefully?
Alongside the AD.
Okay, so oh my God, he's such a liar.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I stand by that. I think you worked alongside them. You just told me briefly ago, you choose your words very carefully, Hasan.
Not always. I'm
okay, we're walking that back. Sometimes I speak out the side of my mouth when I say you work with ADL. So. Here you are again repeating the lie with Steiny on video. Go ahead. You had time
constantly come after me when his
this recap's giving me giardia.
These inferences that I am and like partnering with like the ADL and
partnering with the ADL. You want to? How do you justify that? That there's no other interpretation for what that means. It's just he's lying to my fucking face and to all the audience.
I mean, you literally asked him to justify it, and he did, and then you agreed with his justification and said, "Let's move on." So what do you want? What do you want? He did. You're like, how can you justify that? And then he did. Okay.
The fact that people are watching that and believing it is truly, it's like, what? How am I supposed to feel as a
human being? You believed it.
I'm just so demoralized by that. Want to unpack that one there, buddy?
Yeah. Again, partnering with the ADL. That is precisely what took place.
I have never spoken to the ADL, so what does that mean?
I'm not saying you directed the ADL
to take action. Do you know how silly you look?
Actually, you know what? I am kind of saying that. I am implying that you directed the ADL to take action.
Well, that's a defamatory claim that has zero proof. And frankly, it sounds a little Jewish conspiratorial.
If I thought that you worked for the ADL, I wouldn't have said you worked with the ADL. I would have said you worked for the ADL. Now, what's interesting to me...
Partner. This motherfucker said he's partnered up with the ADL.
And then he's just like, yeah, no, I am speculating, but I am standing by that.
Well, he didn't mean you got a sponsorship by them.
You know,
that's what you're having.
His point is that we were working towards the same goal, which is hilarious because Hasan would never accept someone being like, oh, you're partnered with Nazis because they're anti-Zionist, or you're partnered with like You're partnered with, Nazis. They hate Israel. They hate Jewish people.
Sure.
You what?
Not all Nazis hate Israel. Also, you brought that example up to Hasan, and he had pretty good rebuttal. Hasan said, if I took credit for what the Nazis were doing, then you can say I worked with the Nazis, which I think is pretty damn fair. If someone is bringing attention to a person or an organization or something, and then an extremist group gets involved, and then you take credit for getting the extremist group involved, then I think it's pretty fair to say you worked with the extremist group. That example isn't as good as Ethan really thinks it is.
But you're partnered with them. You're working with them? Of course not. Don't be a fucking idiot. He treats us like we're so dumb. Did he defame me? Yes, I think so. I think he did defame me.
Okay, sue him.
I think so.
Sue him.
Just keep playing it.
Yeah, so this part to me was like the most brazen lie of all the lies he told.
Then sue him. Come on.
I'm thinking of working on an H3 video about it called
please.
Every Time Hasan Lied During Our Debate, which is going to be...
Do it.
I feel like it needs to be
What was it?
categorized.
Empathy and understanding? I don't know if I can fit that in.
For posterity. Here he is reiterating his support for the Houthis on his own stream after getting called out.
You said Ethan's words can make...
Why is he watching this old video of me? Like, bro, what?
He seemed pro-Zionist and that he should be more thoughtful, but when he pointed out that your language can come off as supportive of terrorism, why not just admit that you're careless sometimes too? To his fans, it made you look like you can't admit fault. I have no problem with the Houthis. Yeah.
By the way, and that's exactly my point. And that's just so reasonably stated too, from someone in his chat. They're like, dude, just concede that he gets all up in arms like, how dare you say I support terrorism? And then he comes out and says, 10 toes down. Houthis are great. I love them. They should get a Nobel Peace Prize. Just kidnapping 15 unaffiliated civilians for a year is justified. It's called deterrent.
God, that handwriting's so bad.
Why are you saying I support terrorism? You know, just at least own the fact.
It looks like I was
at least
blind
sounds
when I
like
wrote it.
Yeah, because I don't. What do you mean? If you think I'm a terrorism supporter for that reason, then yeah, I'm a fucking terrorism supporter. What are you talking?
Why?
In this video, you mentioned the ADL.
Oh yeah, you want to pull up that clip? How pathetic he's actually. So here's the thing: he didn't mean that. Him pulling up this clip is proof that he meant that I'm working directly with them. Otherwise, he wouldn't feel the need to pull this up because his claim was that I work beside them. This clip is his evidence. Oh, you got it? Let me see. Look at this shit.
Look at this shit.
They need a lot of time to think about it. And I think, yeah, like when the ADL got involved, that's only when they finally suspended Frogan and all the other people up on the stage. When a sitting congressman started writing letters.
That's it.
Posting on Twitter. Then they said, okay, we should probably do something. But
So you're acknowledging that the ADL is what got Frogan banned, and then later on you take credit for getting Frogan banned. Okay? So that's pretty justifiable.
Literally just recapping what happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And we were all saying like it's dumb that fucking the ADL were the ones that came in and did something before Twitch was even listening to us. Like, dude, this was a huge controversy that went way beyond our community. And it was at the same time as the vets have deserved PTSD comment too. So
I hope you get PTSD.
Yeah, but Frogan didn't get banned for the PTSD comment. She got banned for the Arab tier list, which no one gave a fuck about. I mean, I don't know, did people give a fuck about? But Ethan Klein was the one that said that it's an anti-Semitic tier list. That, like, he's the one who really brought the attention down on that and started that whole narrative.
Give me a break. You know what I mean?
Give me a break.
Liar.
The tier list made it even to news in Israel.
Yeah, that's. Oh no, it's me. And they told. Oh, Ethan went out of his way to try to get these people
the tier
deplatformed.
list
It's
made
like,
it to news in
can
Israel.
you please have even one tiny crumb of accountability for anything?
It's the 2025 version of Ethan can call up YouTube CEO. Remember when people used to accuse you of that?
More, honestly, it's even more anti-Semitic. Like Susan Wojcicki, by the way, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Right to the goat, dude.
It is
quite really sad.
Honestly. She's dead, Dan. She's actually dead.
You know,
I don't know if you know that. Dan was laughing.
The one time that we met her was when we were about to have Theodore, our first baby, and she gave us a sleep sack for him.
We still use it.
We still use it right now with Sonny.
Oh my God. Okay. Whatever.
Other people deplatformed.
Yeah.
Never. We only met her once.
Yeah. Wow. People were making anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that we know the CEO of YouTube, but we only met her once, guys, and she gave us a gift for our child. Okay. So it sounds like she knew you personally before you met her, if she knew you were pregnant or had just recently had a kid. Yeah, why would you say that?
Example though, because that was true.
Right.
Yeah, you guys could really use her right now.
I know. Where's
Yeah, I
where's,
wish,
where's
wish she was around.
Why
but
could
then
they use
this is
her?
actually, I think, even more nefarious because the ADL has a certain reputation for being like,
Oh, there's people finding out in the chat that Susan died right now.
Yeah.
oh, it's such a horrible tragedy. I don't
Really-
want to bum you guys out.
really
because
tragic
It's heartbreaking,
story.
but her son died a year before in like a tragic.
God, oh my God, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Okay, let's continue.
Her cats when she's
She
out of
pay
town.
good?
No.
Let's see. Hasan already reacted to Ian's new video, by the way, on stream in full. People were like, remember Hasan was like,
It's such a joke.
that's it. He's just such a joke. He goes, Ethan's strategy and immediately reacting to Ian's video is to pause it so much and talk about it so much that you don't know what the video is about. This guy watched his video. He spent, as I read, 4 hours watching the video on stream. And then he spent another like few hours watching some hate video about you being a terrorist.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
What did
They're
Hasan
pretty
have for
invested
dinner,
in,
Ethan?
Yeah.
And hating. And again, I've yet to watch a single Hasan hate video. You know.
Maybe you should.
He already posted it to YouTube. Jesus. iDubbbz versus Ethan Klein round 2.
I mean, it's kind of
You know,
funny
I
that
just-
Ethan
I hope
says
that
he
at least some people in
hasn't
his
watched
audience were
any
able to
Hasan
be,
hate
like, turned
videos
off.
when he used all of the clips that are in every single Hasan hate video. Why would you need to watch it, I guess?
By the way, the
Blade.
terrorist thing, again, to go to like how they take meaning away from words. If you want to call me a terrorist, like that tells me your privilege and that you never lived under terror, you know? Like you've never experienced.
You said,
well,
Oh my God, did Hila really just say that? Holy fuck. 1 hour 14:39. That's so funny. If you call me a terrorist, it means you're privileged. Oh, okay. I guess I'm privileged then, guys. Oh no, sue me. I'm privileged. Hila's a terrorist. You care to explain why I'm wrong? Oh, you're not a terrorist because you were forced to be a terrorist. Okay, yeah, that makes you not a terrorist. Wow. Privilege. Yeah, what the fuck is happening?
A terror attack.
The difference.
I mean,
is
I
that-
grew up having to be afraid to go on a bus, my dad wouldn't let me go to the mall, anywhere
listen.
public. Like
And Gaza.
Oh, so she grew up being hateful. That. Wait. All right. Time to make a list. Every reason why Hila Klein is not a terrorist. So, why Hila is not a terrorist. All right, let's start. Reason number 1. She grew up being fearful of Palestinians. Okay, so she was a racist child. I mean, fair. You don't know anything when you're a kid. If your parents are telling you to be racist, you're probably going to be racist.
I'm sure it's not very. It's very scary.
okay,
right?
I can understand that, but there's no reason for anybody to try to argue that you should call me a terrorist. And
Well,
if they want to do that, they're being ridiculous.
The reason why is because it's mandatory conscription.
Mandatory conscription. That's reason 2. Mandatory conscription. Okay, so the reason why you're not a terrorist is mandatory conscription. A minute ago, it was because she grew up being racist, but now it's mandatory conscription. Let's see if we'll get a third reason.
Terrorism. People get recruited. They join terrorist organizations because they want to kill people.
Like, he literally just said people get recruited, and then he said, oh, wait, no, I can't say you get recruited because Hila got recruited. American soldiers get recruited. No, he changes it to say that you join terrorist organizations because you want to kill people. Now, what did Hila just say? I joined the IDF because I was fearful of getting bombed. I joined the IDF because I was racist. Sounds like she joined it because she wanted to kill people. Okay, Ethan. Describing why your wife is a terrorist. But we have 2 different reasons. They're contradictory, but I mean, they're definitely contradictory, but we have 2 reasons now. Let's see if we'll get a third reason.
People get recruited into the IDF it's mandatory, and not everybody.
It's recruited. They get recruited into it, but it's mandatory. I mean, is it really recruiting if it's mandatory? Recruiting implies that the people getting recruited have some kind of agency, right? Otherwise, they would just enter. They would like graduate into the IDF.
The IDF is actually the vast majority of people in the IDF are not doing anything combat related.
Oh, Gila Klein is not a terrorist because she doesn't do anything combat related. Okay. Didn't do anything combat related. Do anything combat related. I mean, I don't know, kidnapping someone, walking into someone's house with a group of armed thugs, blackbagging them and dragging them back out into your vehicle. I guess there were no bullets fired, so that might not be combat related, according to Ethan.
And I've said many times I was a secretary.
A lot of the stuff is just like infrastructure and society-based type of shit. So yeah, no, Hila's not a terrorist. Somebody who's like, I want to join the...
It's infrastructure and society-based. She's just a part of society. Okay, I'll put that down as reason 4. Just a part of society. Maybe 3.5. Hila Klein, just a small bean member of society.
Houthis, so that I want to join Hamas so I can like suicide bomb a cafe. That's someone who's like, yeah, and they're like, yeah, I'm a terrorist. I want to be a terrorist. I am a terrorist. You know what I mean? Could you argue that?
Okay, not a suicide bomber. Reason number 5. Not a suicide bomber. Guys, Hila Klein never put on a suicide vest. She's not a terrorist.
Like the IDF commits acts of terror? Yeah. You know what I mean? For sure. But that's...
Does the IDF commit acts of terror? Okay, so what do you... Your example you just gave was someone committing an act of terror, and you used the act of terror to describe the person as a terrorist. You literally just got done saying, if someone does an act of terror, then they're a terrorist, okay? And now you're saying the IDF does acts of terror, sure, but let's see what his but is.
That's why he says it's more complicated, because it's not like you can't just say, oh, they're a terror org, because it's mandatory conscription, and the vast majority of people involved are not doing combat. So even if you want to say like the people in the IDF are terrorists, it doesn't really hold up to scrutiny.
But by your logic, some people in the IDF would be terrorists, right? Or is no one in the IDF terrorist because it's mandatory? So the IDF does acts of terror, but some people in the IDF don't do acts of terror, and it's a mandatory conscription. So don't understand how the way they get the recruits has any bearing on whether it's a terrorist organization or not. But according to Ethan, it does. And he's saying that because some people in the IDF aren't doing combat roles, then it's not a terrorist organization. That's what Ethan Klein is saying. Okay, all right, let's see if he gives us any more reasons.
Because of what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because of what she said. Reason number 7, or reason number 6, because Ethan says. All right, so we got our list. Reason number 1, she grew up being fearful of Palestinians. Reason number 2, there was a mandatory conscription. Reason number 3, she didn't do anything combat related. She was a secretary. Reason number 4, she's just a part of society. Reason number 5, Hila Klein was not a suicide bomber. And reason number 6, because of the things that Ethan had said. Okay, I'm convinced, guys. I think that was a stellar argument. And honestly, if you guys didn't buy those 6 points, you're just being anti-Semitic. I'm sorry. I think we're gonna have to purge this chat if we see anyone calling Hila Klein a terrorist, because that convinced me. That convinced me. I'm ready. I think I'm going to join the IDF. I don't know. Ethan's making some compelling points. They can commit acts of terror, but even if they have just one secretary, it's not a terrorist organization.
that Ethan's words can make him seem pro-Zionist and that he should be more thoughtful, but when he pointed out that your language
Oh, I
can come
never got
off
to
as
show his
supportive of
response.
terrorism, why not just admit that you're careless sometimes too to his fans and made you look like you can't admit fault? I have no problem with the Houthis. Yeah, because I don't. What do you mean? If you think I'm a terrorism supporter for that reason, then yeah, I'm a fucking terrorism supporter. What are you talking about? Okay. The Houthis and their militancy in the Red Sea is a perfectly moral action. What would you do? If there was a genocide happening in your fucking backyard?
Are all the missiles
That's it.
that they're shooting
And
at
Ethan
Israel?
had no
okay?
answer for that.
He says I had no answer for that. I continue.
All the missiles
That's it.
that they're shooting
And
at
Ethan
Israel?
had no
okay?
answer for that.
What? There's when no bureaucracy. He photoshopped Hassan's fan on the back of his room. Okay. All right, let's continue.
He says I had no answer for that. I continually had an answer. I said, you do what you did, but don't kidnap 15 fucking Filipino sailors and keep them prisoner for a year for no reason. They didn't even get anything out of it. They just eventually had to return them because they were getting pressured by all the human rights orgs. You know?
What?
Such a coward.
I'm curious, does he have a problem with all the missiles they're shooting at Israel?
Fuck no. No, actually the opposite. When the missile hit the airport, he was on Twitch celebrating. The title of his
How do you explain that? Because if it had hit, like, it luckily hit in an open field right next to, I mean, as it was part of the
airport's a
the
very
airport,
big
but
area.
it landed outside in the open space, and if it would have landed on the structure, it could have been very disastrous.
He thinks it's good.
But those are innocent civilians.
No,
I don't
he doesn't have a
understand.
problem with killing or maiming or kidnapping innocent civilians. He made
Okay.
that very clear.
Mhm.
He says it's a deterrent.
How does that help Palestine?
It doesn't, frankly. And by the way, Yemen is like, he keeps chirping about how Yemen's the poorest country in the world. It's like, well,
Now
then
they're getting bombed by the
what's the
IDF.
point of fucking spending money on missiles and shit that are just either getting shot down by the whatever.
Yeah.
Point is,
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. This is the bunker argument over again. Ethan's like, Hamas spent all of their money on tunnels and they didn't build bomb shelters. And now Ethan's like, if only the people in Yemen spent that money from instead of spending it on missiles, if only they spent it on like buying loaves of bread, or if only they invested it in crypto instead, maybe Yemen would be less poor. That's such a funny argument to make. Like, it's also hilarious to me that Hila sits there and is like, oh, well, I mean, there was one missile that hit an airport, but, like, you know, it went into the open space and actually no one was hurt at all by it. But, you know, Hezbollah's horrible. It's like, motherfucker, you're complaining about one missile that got through the Iron Dome that didn't do anything? You're gonna complain about that when like 90% of the structures in Gaza are totaled? What? This is why people criticize you for your effective output. You're literally devoting airtime to talking about a missile that did nothing, but it made Israelis scared. That's what you're devoting airtime to, and you haven't mentioned once the damage to Gaza at all? Like, wow, okay.
that's the name of his stream was Houthis show the limit of the Iron Dome, ! Like celebrating. So yeah, he's happy about it. And that was being promoted by Twitch on the front page.
Wow.
Yeah. And by the way, Mike from PA, who issued a death threat against me, has still not been punished.
I also said, yes, some people think I'm a terrorist supporter, and that's on them and not me.
Yeah. Actually, that's new because he's always been like, you call me terrorist supporter. Hey. Let's see.
We should get to Ian's content deputy.
Let me just say this one nice thing
My
about
favorite thing
Frogan.
about the debate yesterday was
Oh,
him getting mad
God,
at
of
Hassan for
course.
having armpit hair.
Dude, Ethan is really weird. He's literally blamed Frogan for like this entire thing starting, which is so strange to do when you clearly have disagreements with Hasan and like a deep-seated personal hatred for Hasan. But to insist on blaming Frogan for it all happening is really weird, and it just reminds me of the trope of like, oh, two men are fighting, a woman probably started it, and like that whole misogynistic trope. Just a weird fixation from Ethan on talking about Frogan, and also he talks about denims in a really strange way as well.
His armpit as this profile picture, he just zoomed in randomly, starts shit talking. Honestly, dude, I will say Ethan is really funny sometimes.
Girl, I've always liked you. Honestly, Frogan, I knew you were a real one. This never should have been, this feud between us. Yeah, there's more.
Like, I don't understand why he fucking like hyper focused on the armpit hair. Like, that's had me crying. And then when he was like talking about man, he's like, fucking broccoli hair, fucking broccoli. You look like fucking broccoli. And Dad's like, actually, broccoli's more around. He's like, oh yeah, fucking broccoli.
I didn't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
There was another day that you were saying you were making fun of his hair and you called him broccoli head, and I corrected you because I'm like, it's not the shape of broccoli.
Oh, so she's that stuck with her.
Yeah,
I respect this because I'm always like, these people that hate watch the show, they watch like 3 hours of it. You're telling me they don't chuckle one time? Like, that's impossible. So at least she admits it. So Frogan,
honestly, dude,
I see you, girl.
I will say Ethan is really funny sometimes.
I know it. Thank you so much for saying that. It's truly
Guys, don't forget that Ethan's a comedian.
We can finally agree on something, Frogan.
Truly, truly a great person. No criticism of her at all. Stallbro. Oh my God, Stallbro.
Yeah, he's still in the chat.
That's the name.
Okay, what is this? Mike from PA's death threat. All right, what's the death threat? Hit me with it.
Badge of honor.
Ahmad. So this is Mike from PA who yesterday, and this isn't the first time. The first time he's did a death threat, he got punished. He said he offered $100,000 to anybody that would kill Destiny.
I mean, I've been laughing this entire time.
Now he's
I've been laughing through this entire stream because I think Ethan's so ridiculous. I don't think he's funny. I don't know. I don't think any of Ethan's jokes have made me laugh. Maybe like some of his things where he's half joking has made me laugh. Like when he's like, it's not hateful. I'm not a hateful guy. Well, not that hateful. I'm a little hateful. Actually, yeah, I do hate you. Like that was pretty funny. But like, it wasn't a joke. He's just revealing how hateful he is because he is a hateful person.
Doing threats of violence against me again, so it's not even his first time. And I literally reported this from my user account on Twitch because we were like, let's see what happens if I log into my H3 Productions account and I say this person's threatened me, and then I can not be like someone else, say like me. And it's from a big account. Our H3 channel has 100,000 followers. He has faced no repercussions for this. Watch this.
Can I say something? Can I say something? And it's I really like that these people did this, but I gotta be honest, with my experience in life with people like Ethan, the only thing that ever knocks them out of their fucking spiraling is the rod. It's the stick. It's not the carrot. Like he feels like he's bullying you. He feels like he's hurting you. He's not gonna stop until he's.
By the way, all the comments are like, for real. Exactly. Can you imagine if I was like, the only way to fucking stop Mike from PA is to like beat his ass, which by the way is a hypothetical.
What? He's not saying beat you up. He's basically saying like to hold you accountable, to call you out. Wait, is this supposed to be like a a call for physical violence against Ethan? Wait, has Ethan never heard the metaphor before, the carrot and the stick? Where you use a carrot to like sweet talk someone and to motivate them because they want to do something, versus the stick where you're like motivating them because they don't want to experience that. Like, does he think that this is a like, does he think he's actually calling for Ethan to be beaten with a stick? Maybe there's more. Maybe I spoke too soon.
You should never do that, right? I would never call for violence. People,
I think I don't know the context here, but I could assume that he's watching Frogan, and Frogan's like, we have to be nice to Ethan, and then he's like, no, I don't think we should be nice to him. We should use the rod, not the carrot. That's just my guess. I don't fucking know, but let's see if he actually calls for Ethan's death.
The chat wouldn't be like, yeah, let's fuck him up.
Right.
They would not do that. People would say, whoa, why'd you say that?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it too. I think our community.
Has he actually never heard of that metaphor before? Is that the death? No, there has to be more. There has to be more.
Everyone wants to characterize them as like this unhinged harassers. Ian called you guys a cult in his new video. And it's like, I think our community is really reasonable. Really fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I think good people too. The values that we uphold are good.
You know, he's bleeding out of the corner of his...
Bro, the only values that you uphold are support me or get banned. That's the value you uphold.
Mouth. And I get it. I want to be empathetic. Like, I understand the value of empathy.
Go back, 'cause this is
it's not the carrot. Like, he feels like he's bullying you. He feels like he's hurting you. He's not going to stop until he's bleeding out of the corner of his mouth.
And by the way, I mean, this guy's always acting tough. He's the most pathetic looking loser. Who are you
looking
kidding?
loser.
You're talking about, in my experience in life,
the most pathetic looking loser. Jesus. Okay. Ela terrorism. Okay, so he took the metaphor a little bit further. No, but still, like, that's literally a metaphor. Carrot and the stick, and even if he's like, he's not going to stop until he's bleeding out the side of his mouth, that's obviously taking the metaphor further from where it usually ends, but it's still metaphorical. It's like, what was that senator? There was like some representative, some Democratic representative, and he's like, oh, we need to, because we need to like start fighting the Democrat, or we need to start fighting the Republicans more, because right now we're bringing knives to a gunfight. And then everyone's like, you're advocating for violence against Republicans, politicians. And he's like, no, I was using a phrase. I was using a figure of speech to illustrate a point that we need to like resist you harder by speaking up more about you.
The only way people react is the stick. It's like, dude, you don't leave your house. And when you do, women recoil in horror and they force you back in humiliation. Your best friend.
Pull the clip.
Pull the fucking clip. Your best friend recoiled in horror. Actually, you were apparently dating her. She literally like...
Dating in his mind, it seems like.
Yeah,
I don't know.
in the incel type of sense, where it's like, I actually just, I buy you stuff and I do everything for you, but...
Ethan, you almost started crying when Hasan said he was more handsome than you in the Content Cop video. I wouldn't be commenting on other people's appearances.
I get nothing in return. I mean, what a loser, Mike. Mike, please stop trying to be tough, okay? I am so far from a tough guy, and of all the people that I think I could fight and win against, there's Big Nick and there's Mike from PA. It's the short.
So Mike from PA would actually destroy Ethan. Are you sure you want to say that you'd beat him in a fight?
List. Very short list.
Mike from PA looks big, man. He looks tall.
I get it. I want to be empathetic. Like, I understand the value of empathy. I understand the value of trying to reach out to someone. But somebody like Ethan, he needs to see some stars before he's gonna fucking back down.
As everybody knows, it's the well researched and supported. The best way to convince someone to do something you want is violence. That always works.
And so I just would not do this. Like, and I know that a lot of them have since come out and said, well,
like, once again, he's using violence as a metaphor for treating him roughly and holding him to account, like, rhetorically, by making videos shitting on him, by streaming, by debating him and calling him out for his bullshit over and over and over again. He's not actually saying we need to go and beat Ethan up, and then he'll suddenly be more contrite and change his positions on things.
Didn't work because they legitimately tried. And so I don't think that they were wrong to try this. It's just with people like Ethan Klein, until he feels the pressure, he's not going to stop.
Yeah, whatever. Dude, you're a giant loser, like, actually.
Okay, so that's not... whatever. So he never plays a death threat. He never says a death threat, and then Ethan just says whatever. Okay, so you know it's not a death threat. And then notice how he used a different metaphor to describe what he was saying with the violence metaphor by saying that, yeah, we need to turn the pressure up on Ethan. Ethan's like, are you saying you want to cook me in a pressure pot like a turkey? That is so anti-Semitic and dehumanizing from you. Are you saying that you want to put me in a in a soccer dome and then turn the pressure up? What is happening with you, Mike from PA? Are you saying you want to put me in a submarine and put me on the bottom of the ocean? Come on, that's so rude. That's basically threatening violence because of what happened to those billionaires a few years ago. No, dude, it's a fucking metaphor. You know it's a metaphor. He literally switched metaphors halfway through. I mean, let's also not even talk about how Ethan didn't play any context, so we have no idea what he's talking about. Like, what was the context before that? Were people trying to say we should be nice to Ethan to get him to change his mind? And then he's like, no, we shouldn't be nice to him. We should use the rod. We should turn the pressure up on him. He didn't play any of that shit. He tried to make it as bad as possible by clipping it as much as possible, and he still came out the other end a complete failure.
Like,
Actual
and please,
loser.
please.
The actual embodiment of a loser.
And please, bro, look
That's
at
fine.
this.
I think that's fine. So if a guy pays for my tab,
I think I'm getting your attention.
That's him.
I feel like I touched like a vampire touching holy water.
can I help you?
Well, I think they want to go in.
Okay.
I think even Schmeagol is more appealing, frankly. I think Golan is hotter. More sex appeal.
Oh my god. Dude, Ethan's actually a fucking freak. Every other person that he thinks he's less attractive than, he like fixates over them, and he's like, wow, they think they're so good looking. And then when he finds people that he thinks he's better looking than, like Mike from PA and Bad Empanada, he like hyper fixates on them, and he's like, they're so ugly, they're so disgusting. Women wouldn't even scrape them off the bottom of their shoes. Dude, you have some like deep-seated sexual insecurities. Okay, I'm done with this podcast. What time is it? 1:36. How long have I been streaming? 2 hours? We can go a little bit further. All right, chat. Never mind. Let's go through this. While we're on the topic of this debate still, let's go over some reactions from the H3 fans. Mod captured. So this is just how unhinged the H3 fans are getting. Like this account Yeet, apparently he streams, and it's like the cutest thing ever. He's like playing his little video games and is like, I love Destiny, I love Dan Saltman. Hasan keeps doing this thing during his nuke react where he asks chat to find a clip. Pretty obvious he has a few mods feeding a script with clips attached. Feeding a script with clips attached? Now someone thinks that Hasan's just a face for some kind of like cabal feeding him scripts. He's been doing this a while now. Watch his eyes when streaming. He will look to his Discord and read bullet points. Oh, what? I mean, he's looking at a different tab and ask. Why do they have asks in quotation marks? Are they saying that they have all of these clips preloaded? What would the effective difference be between getting Chaz Chat to in real time find the clips versus having his community find the clips before he starts streaming? What would the difference be? They're still watching the clips. Actually, like, this is fucking schizo. He really is the Joe Rogan of the left. Pull it up. Pull it up, JB. Pull it up, JB. You're in the fucking H3 production subreddit where the main podcast host has like 7 producers in the room, all feeding him information from ChatGPT. He was doing it during the debate too. Bro, Ethan Klein came into the Sam Cedar debate with like 6 Hasan clips locked and ready to go. What is happening with this community? They're actually just insane. Oh, I love this one too. I loved this one. Tonight on Locale Live, Anissa, Frogan, and Hasan join. Bro, it's a podcast that your podcast hosts, Ethan and Hila, watch. They unironically watch this podcast. Are they trying to say that it's a bad podcast and these people are bad people? Your crew supports the podcast. Okay. It was oh yeah, this one's so weird. It might be bots. It was an easy win, bro. Like I'm not even gonna say anything. Ethan, Hassan Piker, second largest political streamer after Asman, terrorist supporter and self-described propagandist. Bro, like, someone made this. Someone actually made this. Okay. At least this said, wait, where are the comments? This is 28 comments, 559 upvotes. There wasn't just one comment there. Okay, whatever. What's this? What Hasan thinks he is for Palestine versus what he actually is. Like, how many upvotes does this have? 839. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is funny. Hasan calling Hila a terrorist could have real life consequences. Okay. Let's zoom in on this page. I believe Hasan is going to drive one of his fans to violence against the Kleins if he keeps pushing this narrative. He has doubled down on calling Hila a terrorist on his stream. Didn't have the balls to say that to Ethan's face though. What? Ethan said, yes, you're right. My wife is a terrorist. What? What? Why? Why is there no reality in their chat? We need to what? Bro. Actually, he didn't have the balls to say it to Ethan's face? Ethan said it. Hasan didn't have to say it. Ethan said it. Okay, I'm gonna delete the content nuke. I have too many tabs open. Okay, here we go. Where she's a terrorist. She's a terrorist.
She know where they were going or what they were doing.
What she participated in.
Okay,
is
she's a
called
terrorist, bro.
night raid.
Please, we gotta move.
It was not that hard to find. Ethan literally said she's a terrorist. Dude, like, it's not that they have their own rules and their own, like, view of reality. It's that they can't even, like, it's in one ear, and then they, like, piss it out. It's not even in one ear out the other. It's in one ear, and then they just completely skew it in their brains to whatever. Like, it's literally the Trump cult. Hasan didn't have the balls to say it to Ethan's face. He said it to Ethan's face so much that Ethan said, okay, fine, bro. She's a terrorist. What are you talking about?
Brigade was not supposed to be there. That
I
is
don't
an
think
act
she
of
knew
terror.
what they were doing.
And as a matter of fact,
I don't think she knew what they were doing or where they were going.
What she participated in
I don't think she knew where they were going or what they were doing.
What she participated in
okay,
is
she's
called
a terrorist,
night
bro.
raid.
Please, we gotta move on.
Okay. So where were we? Didn't have the balls to say that to Ethan's face out. What? Okay. He has been pushing snark propaganda openly since the debate. A snark subreddit, so basically just criticizing my podcast. A snark subreddit is one thing, but Hassan's audience is fucking huge. Wow. So this person's actually just kind of scared that their podcast is getting called out now. It's fucking huge with a lot of bitter young men who have been radicalized by Hassan's rhetoric. Repeatedly calling a woman a terrorist like this will dehumanize and demonize her to the point where his fans won't see her as a human being, but a personification of the IDF's cruelty, and they will believe violence against her is justified. On his charity stream, you could see from the dono messages how hateful his community is towards Hila particularly. What Hasan is doing right now will launch a new wave of harassment against Ethan and Hila. I mean, that's not wrong. And I'm very worried about how it's targeted more towards Hila and Hassan's community. I struggle to believe that Hasan doesn't fully realize what he's doing because he knows how the internet works, how that snark page he's promoting has ruined their lives, and how bad their harassment has already been. CPS calls. I mean, this guy's delusional. But what I do like about this comment is how they understand calling someone a terrorist is dehumanizing language. Well, it's not necessarily dehumanizing, but it is language used to label them as an enemy, label them as someone who doesn't have any kind of valid reasons for doing their actions. And then you see what Ethan Klein is doing, where he's like, all of these Arabs are terrorists, Hamas is terrorists, Hezbollah is terrorists, the Houthis are doing terrorism. Hassan's a terrorist supporter when he says he supports the Houthis doing a blockade. Rashid al-Haddad is a terrorist because he posed with a gun on social media. And these people are like, no, Hila Klein, the person who's a multimillionaire living in LA, is in danger because some people are calling her a terrorist. Bro, no one's calling her a terrorist until they started calling Rashid al-Haddad a terrorist, and then people were pointing out the hypocrisy. Anyway, it's so funny. They're like, you can't call her a terrorist. That's horrible. I still don't get why they're running with this talking point. Hassan seems to be perfectly okay being friends with baby killer terrorists not too long ago. Literally nothing about her involvement in the IDF has changed since they stopped being friends. Like, dude. Hassan's saying she objectively is a terrorist, but I don't have a problem that she served in the IDF when she was 18 because I understand all of these circumstantial influences that caused her to join the IDF. What I have an issue with now is that she's been supporting Israel's genocide. That's why I'm calling her out. And the reason that people are calling her a terrorist is to point out the hypocrisy of Ethan Klein calling Rashid al-Haddad and people that are fighting against Israel, calling them terrorists, and they're like, you're married to one, dude. Like, why don't you just criticize people off of the merits of what they're doing rather than just labeling them a terrorist when that would apply to your own wife? Okay, listen, even more. Here's Bad Empanada being blatantly anti-Semitic. Ooh, Bad Empanada being blatantly anti-Semitic. Let's check it out.
With Bad Empanada, I know he's pro-Palestine, and I know he's not an anti-Semite.
If I ever call you anti-Semitic, it's because you say things.
Oh, it's a Lonerbox post. It's a Lonerbox video. Okay. So Lonerbox is going to tell us why Bad Empanada is anti-Semitic, or as he says, anti-Semitic.
And I know he's not an anti-Semite.
If I ever call you anti-Semitic, it's because you say things like responding to someone who says, I was born in Israel and never left, what should be done to me? And you respond with wall. Colonizers get the wall.
Yeah, and
I think that sounds anti-Semitic to me. Yeah.
That guy is how is that anti-Semitic in the first place? For one, a settler colonialist automatic.
So basically, Lonerbox's evidence of Bad Empanada being anti-Semitic is that he criticizes Israelis and calls them colonizers. If you call Israelis colonizers, you must have no reason to do that other than your hatred for Jewish people.
Automatically. Like, is settler, is colonizer?
Do you think everyone who was born in Israel is a settler colonialist?
Everyone who was born in Israel as part of the settler colonial Israeli state and its ethno-nationalist project is obviously a settler colonialist.
You know what's really fucked up about that clip is that I heard an almost identical.
Yeah. So once again, that's like a criticism of colonialism. Where is the anti-Semitism coming from?
Argument coming from Chomsky, saying that this is the inevitable.
Yeah, Chomsky is also a two-statist.
Well,
and I'm pretty sure he's a two-statist. And I'm pretty sure he's a two-statist for ethnic reasons too. So he's a piece of shit as well.
I don't think he's a two-statist for ethnic reasons.
You think I'm emotionally attached to Chomsky?
I don't.
Bro, the only reason you can be a two-statist is for ethnic reasons. It's literally the only thing.
I think he's a two-statist for ethnic reasons.
No, it's not. Why do they say that it's because Chomsky's Jewish? It's when you say ethnic reasons, you're talking about the ethnic demographics. What? It's not talking about the person. They're not saying that he's. They're not saying that They're not saying that Chomsky is a two-statist because he's Jewish. They're saying he's a two-statist, and they say, bro, the person that made this is so funny. They're like. And Bad Empanada is saying Noam Chomsky is a two-state solutionist because he's Jewish. Not that Noam Chomsky believes in a two-state solution because of the ethnic layout of Israel and Palestine. Right? That's what Bad Empanada meant when he said ethnic reasons. And Lonerbox even understood that the way Bad Empanada meant it. Lonerbox didn't say, whoa. You think that based off of Noam Chomsky's ethnicity, he has a certain belief in this? What the fuck?
I know he's not an anti-Semite.
Okay, so basically, oh, you're criticizing colonizers, thus you are anti-Semitic. Well, if you criticize colonizers of an ethno-state, then yeah, you're going to be criticizing that ethnicity. That's kind of the idea of that ethno-state. But that doesn't mean you're anti-Semitic. You're not criticizing them because they're Jewish. You're criticizing them because they're colonizing. Okay, so that was funny. This clip of Hutch is so much funnier after Hasan admitted in defeat he voted for Kamala. I don't even know if this is worth watching.
Hypothetical reality.
I don't have a lot of respect for Hutch.
Regardless of the hypothetical reality where Kamala Harris would not be as bad as Donald Trump, which we have no proof for.
Okay, like it's not really worth watching at all. Anyway, those are some funny reactions. This one might be my favorite. Like, it's just so unhinged. But it's pretty good. Hila said Lonerbox is a goat for getting BE to post camp. She thinks he's laying rakes for him to step on to delegitimize him. Post camp, I don't even know what that means. Debating Hassan Piker. Taco night is ethnic cleansing. Dear Hasan, you lied. H3 show number 145. Did we watch this? What time is it? 2.5 hours? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save that for later. What I do want to do is watch the Content Deputy because I think it's funny. 1.8 million views. Content Deputy, 32 minutes. Let's watch this. Wait, what's this guy's video? Basically the internet's reaction to the new Content Cop.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Content Deputy. Now
let's restart this. All right, Content Deputy.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Content Deputy. Now normally in a Content Deputy I would dance around in my cop outfit in the woods, but this video isn't going to have any of that fanfare. We're just going to get straight into it. I was hoping that if I made a video about Ethan, he would act like an adult and he would keep the attacks directed at me and Anissa. Unfortunately, I was wrong in thinking that because Ethan, in a desperate attempt to attack and smear Anissa and I, he started attacking our charity event.
I don't know if you know this, but last year they lost $250,000. To be charitable, you actually have to give money to charity, Hassan. You have to give money to be charity. It's like a slush fund for them.
Ethan and Hila are well aware that we raised $1.3 million for charity the first year of Creator Clash. The second year we operated at a loss, and I take full responsibility for that. We did band together. The community and the fighters involved ended up raising $175,000 for charity.
Oh, that's great.
It's been really disheartening to see how often Ethan will attack Creator Clash through us or attack us through Creator Clash.
Ian and Anissa, masters of putting on an event.
He's reposting random troll accounts that are very easy to vet. If you click on this profile, it has a bunch of Sam Hyde adjacent posts and it just hates Anissa and I. Come on, dude, you're one step away from calling me a cuck.
Sam Hyde, the Nazi that Ethan keeps, Ethan says that Sam Hyde's great, and then the accounts that he follows are posting Sam Hyde stuff. Yeah, Ethan's super against anti-Semitism.
Take the plunge. He's highlighting this post that equates Creator Clash to a crypto rug pull. He's saying the event is going to be worse than TanaCon. Can't wait for them to blame us for their failed event. Don't worry, Hila. I'm not going to blame you guys for anything Creator Clash related. I know you're terrified of taking accountability for anything, so that will rest solely on my shoulders. But I can't speak for the internet. The internet might actually blame you guys for it. Now, with this recent revelation that people are just going to use Creator Clash to attack Anissa and I have decided to step away from Creator Clash. We have relinquished control to our business partners who ran the previous two events. They're very capable. They know exactly what they're doing. They run events on a regular basis. The event is still happening. Anissa and I just don't have any financial ties. We don't have any ownership. We are, I think just going to be known as the founders of the event. Yeah, I mean, I think it had to come to this eventually. I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't, I mean, I can.
I mean, you probably shouldn't even be boxing in your own event in the first place, but like, that's probably a good decision for him, even without any of this harassment.
I just didn't want to. I want to be frank. I want to be honest. I was very quiet during the second Creator Clash because I was afraid of how that would impact other people. This year I said I'm going to do something different. I'm going to fight back if someone's trying to attack me. So that's what I did. And now I've realized, like, I can't really have my cake and eat it too. It's either you're going to talk shit like a foul beast on the internet, or you're going to have a charity event. You know, it really can't be both. I'm very proud of the event that we made with Creator Clash. It's still happening, June 28th. I'm just not going to be involved in it. Please, for the love of God, support this event. You know, I feel like in some ways I'm like cutting off an arm so that I could escape the bear trap, and so I can fight. Well, that's a bad analogy.
Come on, do the 120, do the 127 hours. You cut off your arm so you can get under the boulder and then you can survive.
Get it. We've already told all the fighters.
He lost.
It seems like most people understand that this is the best move. If the previous content cop was entertaining to you, or this video is entertaining, or you like the message, the best thing that you can do, for me, is to support Creator Clash. Buy a ticket, buy a pay-per-view ticket, an in-person ticket, or donate to the fundraiser. I just want to see this event do well. You know, I didn't try this shit because I thought I was going to be a good boxer. I didn't think I would be an awesome event organizer. And, you know, now I'm finally back to where I started, which is making fucking content cop videos.
That is
I don't
funny.
want to make this too ham-fisted, but I kind of do want to make it ham-fisted, because I'm like, I spent my last fucking 4 years working on this stupid boxing shit. I mean, it was worth it, absolutely, but like, it's crazy that I've just returned to content cop. Having said all that, Creator Clash ticket link down in the description. Go check it out, buy tickets, support the charity, support the fighters, and have a good-ass time. I mean, ultimately, I think it's a good thing, because I think I am meant to roll around in shit. I think me and Ethan are both meant to be rolling around in pig shit all day long, and other people are meant to do boxing or debating or whatever
Bro,
else.
they should
Ethan
just
and me,
box though.
pig-
Come on.
pig shit
Ethan's not that, he's not like that much shorter than Ian. They could probably have a good boxing match. That'd be fun. Cuz like obviously Ethan's never going to change based off of people's words. Maybe he could have like a physical exchange with one of these people and then they could like hug it out afterwards. Violence is always the
rolling
answer.
around type of fellas.
You underestimate my strength! I've got kosher strength! The will of Allah! I mean Yahweh! Yahweh!
I think the worst criticisms I labeled at
God's
Ethan
in
is that
front
he's a
running out
bad
of
boss,
insulin.
a tyrant of a boss. I just implied that he was being taken
Oh,
advantage of by
Jesus.
people either in his community or outside of his community, and I called him a bitch-made coward. That was like the summary of personal insults labeled at Ethan. Before Ethan even knew what my video was about, he was already framing me as anti-Semitic.
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist.
Yeah,
baby
that's true.
killer,
He
guys,
did do
right?
that.
I don't know if that's what the video is.
I'm one of you. I fucking hate Jews too, guys. Let's get after it. Israelis have no right to defend themselves, actually. All Israelis are settlers, actually. What is he going to give me a history lesson now? Is he a historian? Yeah, he just discovered empathy, by the way, and only extends to the point where you're actually talking about Jewish people or Israelis. Then empathy stops and they should all be murdered. Bro's actually out there like Timothy McVeigh. He's running to the closest fucking kindergarten to blow it up. There's a Jew. I heard there's a Jewish.
That's not what Timothy McVeigh did.
They want all you guys to quit and for me to just be like alone, little Jew boy, alone.
Like Ethan, under a year ago,
Dude,
was
he's
saying
so
he doesn't
unhinged.
use anti-Semitism in that way. He's not a guy to call anything and everything anti-Semitic.
You know, in my whole life, I've never screamed foul on anti-Semitism. I literally have been getting this shit since the second I stepped foot on the internet, and I have never fucking ever done this, okay? So the people online, they're saying, oh, Ethan's making himself a victim or Ethan's making everything about anti-Semitism. I've done this once in my life right now. But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag, fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
I mean, I get that he's scared and offended, but this was the whole fucking point of my video, Ethan. I was saying that you shouldn't be doing this. It led to me making this video in the first place. You were triggered by this CPS harassment thing, and then you immediately equated Anissa and I to it. That was sloppy, and that was horrendous, and it was horrendous for us. And now you're doing it again.
I'm gonna watch it live.
Should you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. But like, why?
I just don't think, I feel like you're gonna get really emotional and say something you regret.
Well, I've got the button.
Like, I know you don't have a problem taking it head on, but I just feel
Of course not. Because I know that
you're
whenever-
understandably upset, and I feel like it might be a little...
Should we wait to talk about it, or you want to talk about it?
You should do it off stream. Because I don't know. This escalated initially because we were live.
Bro, this
You guys were
picture of
heated
Drag
about,
is so cursed.
I forget what it was.
I just think it might be wise to watch it, think out your thoughts, and respond in a calm way. Because there's no chance that you don't get heated.
I don't need to fucking pre-watch this. I don't need someone else to hold my hand through it.
Oh my
like,
God,
I'm
he's so brave.
ready to take on anything that these people have to say about me. He's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys. I'm one of you. I fucking hate Jews too, guys.
You attacked us, so I attacked back, and now you're acting surprised and shocked, and you're doing it all on your podcast live. So naturally, you reacting live is you having an emotional reaction and seeing things that honestly are scary.
I just said I vented about them not defending me. What the fuck is he like? He's
Hey,
actually
Hypercolor,
losing his
thank
shit
you so
and
much.
I just can't believe it, dude.
Should call him up.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree. Fair weather friends who are so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ian sucks for the same reason right now. He could say something.
Spineless. Our POV is like, fuck everybody, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You're not my friend, and you never were, and you never will be. You never will be.
What's very insane about this content cop is I was thinking about Ethan's feelings so much in that video. I thought about the idea of like how I shouldn't be saying the term Zionist or Zionism in that video, because I was like, he has explained before that that's personally insulting to him and he doesn't like that. You know, regardless of how true it is, I was like, I'm going to think about Ethan's feelings and not mention this. Fast forward to him.
He just wants some empathy and some understanding.
A fucking Nazi.
Is it a coincidence that Ian really shaved his head just before doing this video and he's holding a swastika one? I mean, we can free Palestine without being a Nazi. You fucking Nazis. How about that? Well, this is the white savior, Ian, who's just found empathy, unless you're Jewish, of course.
Ethan, people are allowed to shave their head and not be called anti-Semitic. I mean, if you're going to critique his podcast or be pissed off that he personally insulted you, even that is enough to be called anti-Semitic. It's fucking crazy. Now, I don't want to talk about Hassan's sword. I don't want to talk about Hassan's sword hilt because Ethan himself basically admitted already multiple times he doesn't think any of us did that intentionally.
Did this come out after the debate?
Do I think any of them actually like wanted to put a swastika in the photo? No,
Yeah,
that's. No,
I mean, I guess
don't actually think
he didn't
that.
use any
The
clips from
chances
the
that they
debate
did on
because it
purpose
came out
is
like
close
the
to zero.
day
right? So
of.
I'm not accusing them.
I picked up a random sword in Hassan's room that was laying around. That could be the end of the discussion. You don't actually need to debate Hassan about the sword hilt.
He left
the
it up.
decision making.
If it was a mistake, he could have deleted it.
But I'm not going to
What,
delete the
it
photo
was during the
because that would
debate?
be indulging in your weird anti-Semitic fantasies.
We can free Palestine without being a Nazi. You fucking Nazis. How about that?
I'm done being nice to Ethan. I gave it a chance. My sincerity and my empathy in that last video was real. I was even equating to him having crash out moments in the same way that denims could have crash out moments. I think we're all capable of it. But he was using it in the video to suggest that I was making fun of his mental health.
To my good friend Ian of 8 years, I really appreciate you weaponizing my mental health against me.
To make Ethan crash out. He's having a parasocial weird crash out. People can have crash out
I feel like I don't have much to add because I've seen all of this shit. Like I watched Ethan's reactions to the content nuke, and I watched the fallout to the content nuke, the content cop, and I watched the fallout to it. So it's like, yeah, Ethan has been just completely crashing out, and obviously it's not surprising to me that he's claiming it's an anti-Semitic video, because he's consistently said, if you criticize me, you're being anti-Semitic. But I don't know, is it surprising to a lot of other people that aren't as tuned in as I am? Another huge day for unemployed people. Joji really knew the perfect time. Kind of getting tired of these meta comments. Where, like, do they have anything? Never let YouTubers use the word empathy again. All this over not using the front door at Ethan's house. I love how everyone's response is just who fucking cares. Is the dislike ratio so inaccurate? Okay, so they're just being like, I don't want to be part of the saga. Okay, so not like any actual comments.
If Ethan's able to get some help. Dude, I'm not making fun of your mental health. Every example you used was me basically saying that other people are trying to affect you. It's understandable that you're going through this right now, Ethan. We all go through this.
To characterize anything I'm doing as crashing out, that I need help, that I need to get some kind of treatment, is cruel and pathetic on a level I didn't think he would ever be possible of doing.
Every fucking example that you tried to smear me with was me actually pointing to something else that could be affecting you. He even brought up the clip of me saying, if you get help. We all need help. Everyone on this planet needs help. I don't care how you get it. You can wander into the jungle and go on an ayahuasca trip. I don't care how you get your help or what you define as help. But if it helps you, that would be good. Because right now it doesn't seem like you're getting much help. The main criticism that I was seeing online with my video from Ethan and Hila is that I didn't mention the CPS call.
There's really just one central point that I want to make here. My good friend Ian, in his hour-long takedown, did not mention one time Child Protective Services. Not one time.
There was not even one mention of CPS.
And a lot of the clips he uses is us fired up from the day that CPS came to us.
So, like,
without even explaining that at least that's the context, it's pretty cowardly.
I wonder why I wouldn't mention
cowardly.
the CPS call.
Yep.
Could it be that the CPS call happened the same day that you were shit-talking me, and I didn't have any chance to defend myself? You just immediately, in the same podcast, right next to each other, said, CPS call was very traumatic. And then you said, fuck Ian and Anissa. And you linked those together, you kind of layered those flavors, and then Anissa and I got a bunch of harassment. We had nothing to do with the CPS
No,
call.
yeah, literally, that's a
Fucking
pretty good
comments
description
on
of
your
what
Reddit
happened.
saying, like, it happened because of the CPS call. I don't entirely blame your audience for getting confused, because number one, it's a fucking cult, and number two, you can't even get the timeline straight. So if anyone's watching your dumbass, their brain is also going to get scrambled.
Be friends as long as they're getting something out of it. So again, he's not showing the context. What was the okay, I'll play this part. Did you guys ever find the context of what I was talking about here? Because I feel like I wasn't even talking about him. I could be wrong. I just don't remember ever saying, like, if I did say that,
I thought you were talking about them, about Anissa and Ian in that clip.
That's the same clip of
It's all the
when
part of the same
CPS was
clip.
called.
Yeah.
Same clip.
It's part of the same conversation.
You completely wiped your brain of what happened during the CPS stream. That's not my fucking fault. That's no one else's fault but yours.
All I wanted for you to do was say the bare minimum of, like, hey, this is fucked up. This is not true about CPS, whatever, like the bare minimum. It came up because they were talking about it on their fucking podcast. By the way, they're the ones that, like, started this conversation by talking about it on the podcast. Be like, hey, I'm not getting involved.
I think that was their response after you guys initially called them out.
This is what I was talking about. You cannot have something terrible happen, be like, yes, let's make some content,
This
and then
picture
shit
is so
talk your
fucking
friends
funny.
hate you.
I'm so fired up.
All right, I'll turn on subtitles. Sorry, I'm not attending to chat at all, really. I feel bad for Olivia because she was a chew toys with Ian and Ethan. I mean, not really. Ian just pointed out that she's friends with Adam McIntyre, and Ethan doesn't have an issue with that, but he has an issue with Ian and Anissa being friends with Denims, which is hypocritical. And then Ethan's like, oh yeah, but Adam McIntyre never encouraged CPS to come, even though he literally has made Instagram stories blaming Adam McIntyre for encouraging CPS to come. Okay.
Myself, which is why I'm coming on that, and I don't know if that's a good state to be in life.
That's that. Elon kind of spitting.
And a lot of the clips he uses is us fired up
Oh,
from
I'm in
the
front of
day
the
that
subtitles.
CPS came to us.
For anyone confused about the timeline, Ethan was talking shit about us on his Instagram before any CPS shit. He was also talking shit about us on his podcast before any CPS visit. On March 7th, CPS visits Ethan and Hila, and that same day, they decide, let's do our podcast, and let's have the topic be the CPS visit and how distraught we are about that. And then right next to that, right after it, you guys talk about me
You
and
went
Anissa,
off?
but
Was
you
that
don't just
today?
talk about us. You shit talk us, and you imply that we're friends with people who are doing this, who are the ones who are harassing you.
Do you have evidence that H3 Snark called CPS on you?
Did I say
Like,
that?
Bro, how does he have clips from the debate? What the fuck? I thought this was released the day of the debate. Well, was it maybe it's released like the next day? I don't know.
Did I say that?
Wait, what's the?
I said
Who
they're
called
primary responsible for
CPS?
harassing me.
Who called CPS?
What the fuck? So I don't know.
To be honest, I'm very proud that I didn't immediately jump
That
to
is
Ethan
true.
and Hila's defense, because when you look into the story, it actually looks a lot shittier for Ethan and Hila. And I do mean that literally. There was this H3
I do
stream
mean that
where
literally.
Ethan was dumping as per usual. He was talking about his own health. He was talking about his caca breath, his dog having diarrhea, his dog having giardia.
Olive has giardia. It's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea.
His child running around putting things in their mouth.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in
Oh
his
my
mouth.
God,
He's at that
Ethan's
age.
gonna be
he has
so
giardia.
livid.
The whole family possibly having giardia.
And now Hila has giardia.
Bro, this is what I was thinking. Like, you don't want the guy to you don't want iDubbbz to talk about CPS being called on you, because it doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make you look good because you can't link the CPS call to iDubbbz, which is what you were implying. So, like, you can't link it to iDubbbz. You can't blame it on iDubbbz. So all you're saying is that, well, talk about why we were mad, and then irrationally blamed Ian and Anissa for the for being shitty, like, for no reason. It didn't have anything to do with CPS. They're just like, CPS was called. You know who else is bad? Ian and Anissa. That's what they were saying.
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my god.
What can I do to not get it? From
Yeah, I'm trying to, because I'm not trying to get
No, it's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
Talking about the viscosity of his child's shit.
And meanwhile, he is covered in viscous,
Bro.
viscosity,
Yeah.
diarrhea.
He mentioned diarrhea a lot.
Crazy diarrheas, like in the middle of the night. All the time he's having these crazy diarrheas. You wash your hands as best you can, but these are really nasty diarrheas. And then
This is so
extremely
stupid.
foul-smelling
This is so
diarrheas.
stupid.
So of course, Ethan, having made so many enemies over
Why?
the years, other
Why is
people
this
react
important
his
to
content.
anything?
And when other people see that he's talking about his children getting giardia from dog poop,
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
people are quite reasonably concerned. And so, yes, anyone who's seeing that content might be concerned enough to call CPS, including Ethan's own chat, which, by the way, is not a measly number. It's about 26,000 at the time of this stream. So there are 26,000 people listening to Ethan go into great detail over 7 or 8 minutes about diarrhea, viscosity of diarrhea, his child having giardia,
What the
him
fuck
and his
is
whole
happening?
family having giardia. They're calling it the poop house. Now what Ethan does, instead of taking any responsibility
Bro, I gotta start an only pause where if you want to see my dog, you gotta pay extra.
for sharing too much on his live stream, is that he decides to attack specific creators like Denim's and say she was the source of the CPS call because her chat was reacting to Ethan and saying, wow, this is concerning.
Is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective Services.
The problem with this CPS thing is that Ethan has proven to be a manipulative piece of shit. So when he calls on me to defend him, what the fuck am I meant to do? I don't trust you, and I'm glad I didn't trust you because in your video defending yourself, you used a video that takes context from like 3 different places and combines them to make it seem like someone is coordinating an attack on you.
Love made a good point. You said, is this every comment? I believe this is a live feed of the chat. This
So,
isn't edited.
What about the top right? I thought these were
No, it's
selected.
this. I think when you full screen it. No, this is an edit. It's a cutout of the full chat. It's just enlarged.
Oh,
there,
really?
Over the screen, yeah.
Bro, it's actually crazy how he tried to blame Denims
It's not
for
timed.
this
It's not
call.
timed the same way.
But it sounds like based on this clip, you knew that it was bullshit and you just went with it anyway. Ethan Klein uses this very deceptively edited video that is just like doing this smooth scroll to make it seem like that's all of Denim's chat.
No, that's
but
true.
that's not what
That's
it
a
is.
good point.
And then when he's called out on it, he hides it. He moves his window over the real chat.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other
Reading the
illnesses,
chat,
it's
co-signing
very,
it.
very, very dangerous.
Now,
No, he
actually
does
cover it. That
have
was
a
pretty
housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like...
Why does it have to be anyone else's fault but your own? Take some fucking responsibility. It's just so bizarre that Ethan would expect Anise and I to make a statement when Denims herself already made a statement about it and said that she does not condone calling CPS.
So we're talking about CPS. 1, I don't condone. 2, I've never condoned it, and you will not be able to find a clip of me saying, yes, we should do this, because it doesn't exist. I've literally given Ethan Klein credit on multiple times or multiple instances, and I will do it again right now, for not showing photos of his kids.
I'm not going to be
Part
able
of
to
my
fit it in.
criticisms of Ethan initially was the openness. I think it's a problem that you are that open, Ethan.
Well, you know I'm very open about everything. It's part of how I wanted to conduct myself and how I wanted
Bro,
to
this
relate
is
to the
a
audience.
point I've
is to
made.
be open as possible about every fucking thing in my life.
It is not strictly a benefit
Stan.
to be as open as possible on your podcast.
Ethan was just sharing his thoughts. What we were thinking, we were speculating.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
We were speculating.
Oh,
And now Ela has
Understanding.
giardia.
Shut.
Be open as possible about every fucking thing in my life.
Really? How many siblings do you have? I don't know, dude. The internet's too fucking weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't
Oh,
wanna
the
say
Bill
how
Burr.
many
Oh, no,
because
that
you're
must
afraid
really
that
piss Ethan
it will
Ethan off.
compromise keep your talking privacy. about it.
On top of Ethan characterizing me and my wife as anti-Semitic, he also takes a dig at my tattoos.
Bro, you literally look like a fucking free tattoo pack that you get for 25 cents from a windy thing, bro. Like literally my kids have cooler fucking tattoos from Chuck E. Cheese. Bro looks like he just went
gonna
to
have
the
to
menu
put
and was
that
like,
on the
I'll take
tramp
that one,
stamp.
that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one.
I have quite a few options here. I can show your tattoos in all of their glory.
Oh, yeah,
or
please.
I can show that your
Tattoo
made it
compilation.
to the top of Awful Taste but Great Execution subreddit, which is not a good thing. I mean, it might be a good thing for the artists that you work with because that means that they did a good job from a technical standpoint, but it's sort of a failure in every other aspect, particularly the decision-making aspect. If you want to go tattoo for tattoo, Ethan, we can do that. You want to keep it to other things? We can. I'll give you that option. Ethan also talks
Bro,
about...
iDubbbz's tattoos are actually good, though. Like, he actually has good tattoos, and you compare that to Ethan, who has literal scribbles on his leg. Like, bro, you can say that your tattoos are sentimental to you, but you can't say they're good. You just can't say they're good. Like, sentimental tattoos are cool, right? But then don't shit on other people's tattoos, because they could be just as sentimental, and if that's what you're valuing, then just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, keep your opinions to yourself. If that's what you're displaying on your body, it's for you. Your tattoos are for you. They're not for other people. Oh my god. I don't even...
The potential CTE that I might have after boxing.
Yes.
Ethan, your whole system is scrambled.
No, your brain is scrambled from getting punched in the face too many times because you don't understand the situation. Some people are saying the CTE is starting to take effect, I guess. That would be comforting if there was some explanation at least.
Any amount of CTE that I may have endured after doing 2 boxing matches, I'm going to say is preferred over having to share the load of doing 50 jumping jacks with my wife.
What if we do both do them? We'll both do 25 at once.
25 each? 4.
Oh my goodness.
Great form by both.
Really nice. They must work out.
Dude, what is this?
Also, why are you talking about CTE at all? Like, you've continually illustrated that you can't keep track of anything.
It came up because they were talking about it on their fucking podcast. By the way, they're the ones that like started this conversation by talking about it on the podcast. Be like, hey, I'm not getting involved.
I think that was their response after you guys initially called him out.
He can't even keep straight who attacked who first. He thinks that our podcast where we're expressing sympathy for him and Hila was the impetus for him talking shit about us. I much prefer boxing-induced CTE than harassment-induced CTE. Ethan acts like we're such great friends and that like, he shared such intimate moments with me, but it's all horseshit. He's lying.
Wait, they paid off gambling debt by doing jumping jacks? Is that real? That's pretty good. From one, I know it was from their gambling stream, but I didn't know like why they were doing jumping jacks.
Like the whole thing is a fucking lie. He's manipulating his audience. We did not have a close relationship.
You guys were buddies for a long time.
Bro, like, Ethan said that Ian and Anissa were his best friends in the world. And now, yeah. Wait, hold on. All right, hold on. I gotta rewind this a little bit.
Have after boxing,
Yes.
Ethan, your whole system is scrambled.
No, your brain is scrambled from getting punched in the face too many times because you don't understand the situation. Some people are saying the CTE is starting to take effect. I guess that would be comforting if there was some explanation at least.
Any amount of CTE that I may have endured after doing 2 boxing matches, I'm gonna say is preferred over having to share the load of doing 50 jumping jacks with my wife.
Yeah, what if we do both do them? We'll both do 25 at once.
25 each? Or
Oh my goodness.
great form by both.
Really nice. They must work out.
Also, why are you talking about CTE at all? Like, you've continually illustrated that you can't keep track of anything.
It came up because they were talking about it on their fucking podcast. By the way, they're the ones that like started this conversation by talking about it on the podcast. Be like, hey, I'm not getting involved.
I think that was their response after you guys initially called him out.
He can't even keep straight who attacked who first. He thinks that our podcast where we're expressing sympathy for him and Hila was the impetus for him talking shit about us. I much prefer boxing-induced CTE than harassment-induced CTE. Ethan acts like we're such great friends and that like he shared such intimate moments with me, but it's all horseshit. He's lying. Like the whole thing is a fucking lie. He's manipulating his audience. We did not have a close relationship.
You guys were buddies for a long time.
He texted me like one time like, hey dude, we should talk this out. And I was like, I don't feel like having this conversation right now. That's it. So Ian kept trying to get me on the phone or text with me. And I told him, dude, honestly, I don't feel like having this conversation right now.
Okay.
Fair, right? I just didn't want to do it. Okay?
Just in that particular moment,
and then
or like at all?
Well, it turns out I didn't want to talk to him at all.
Okay.
If the relationship was that close, you would have talked to me on the phone. You wouldn't have shit-talked me. You would be curious where my brain was at and where I was coming from. There's this moment in the Content Cop where I'm trying to give an example of the cycle of harassment. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop. It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of... Okay, what does that have to do with me?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
Ethan and Hila act like they have no idea what I'm talking about here. So, I mean, maybe they don't. It's a very obvious and easy to digest point. That's why I made it that way. I'm going to explain it here so everyone on the internet understands. When you have a podcast where you are constantly emotionally dumping and saying things just off the top of your head, and you're attacking other people randomly, maybe from your perspective, it's not attacking. Maybe you're just commenting on someone else's situation.
He's got to be one of the most visually repulsive people. FaZe Banks, like, in my opinion, he's somewhat repulsive to look at.
And be
pedophile. Pirate Software was like weird about it. It's like, look at my old voice, it's so lame. What an obnoxious loser. She goes, I can't believe these people are so obnoxious. And he looks like an idiot who's obsessed with me, dude.
But what happens when other people comment on your situation? It doesn't feel too good, does it?
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag. Fuck this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
That is the back and forth I'm describing. You might have thought, we were just saying that Ian and Anissa are bad friends. Well, guess what? We didn't take it that way.
Our POV is like, fuck everybody, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You're not my friend, and you never were, and you never will be. You never will be.
What we took it as is Ethan and Neil are shit-talking us. They just implied that we are okay with people using CPS as harassment, and now all of their fans are brigading us. So I am going to respond in kind and make a content cop. So yes, that is what the cycle of harassment looks like.
Okay, what does that have to do with me?
I don't know.
How about you fucking Nazis? How about that?
You might think that all of the harassment you're getting has everything to do with your politics and your idea of Israel-Palestine, but a lot of my gripes were centered around you dragging me into your shit. You know, you knew that you were going through a lot, and you were saying, I'm hurting, I'm now going to make them hurt because they're not putting their head on the chopping block. Fuck you, you're a piece of shit. I'm sure there's anti-Semitic people that are attacking you guys, but they're not me, they're not Anissa. It's not Hasan, it's not all these other creators that you're attacking. You're not the biggest victim on the internet, Ethan. Other people can experience a horrible fucking time. And guess what? They're not getting this other benefit, which is 26,000 viewers. You're getting a lot of money and a lot of content, a lot of things that you care about from these beefs and from this harassment. There are a lot of people that you've just bullied and they have nothing to gain out of it. Frogan isn't making a bag from this. She's not getting content out of this. You're attacking her in relentless ways and endorsing so much worse harassment than what even you send her way.
The shit he said and posted about...
I mean, that is the thing. Like, Ethan has monetized this. He has made money off of it. He's turned his audience into an audience that craves this. Because anyone that doesn't crave this kind of constant confrontation has left his show. They've stopped watching. He's been doing it for like 6 months now, 7 months. So... yeah, and then he wonders why when he does like a Lord of the Rings stream or when he does a D&D stream, it doesn't get as many views as his anti-Hasan streams. He complains about harassment, but he insists on continuing to cover stuff like this because he knows that it makes him money.
Frogan over the past years is like insanely nasty shit.
Yeah.
Worse than anyone I've seen. If this is true, absolutely mind-blowing, insane shit.
Hold on, it's not worse than anything you've seen. How could it be worse than anything you've seen?
Literally, no. I guess
he was
not.
very nasty. Well, I'm just saying, people like fucking want to like lay down and fucking like.
I'm talking about specifically against Frogan.
But like he called her fat, right, and ugly, which is horrifically mean. I get called a fucking baby killer.
I was talking specifically about
That's way
Frogan.
worse than being called fat and ugly, in my opinion.
Also, on top of Ethan and Neela constantly victimizing themselves, I did notice that as soon as we didn't immediately jump to Ethan and Neela's defense, Ethan took that to heart and he started to make that his employees' problems. Instead of just, sucking it up and taking it on himself, he decided to imply that Lena is going to have a problem with that.
A lot of this has ramifications for the crew. The way that they have it set up is basically, if Lena were to drop out, she would lose, she would have to pay back like $25,000 or something like insane. And besides that, which I told her I would cover if she wanted to drop out, she's been working really hard. And just because I'm having an issue with what's going on here.
You bringing up Lena dropping out of the fight was you publicly showing to your fans, I don't approve of this. You were saying this shit before the content copy even came out.
I know. Ethan trying to take control of what AB was saying and be like, oh, Frogan just gets called fat and ugly, right? That is ignoring all of the Islamophobic and misogynist stuff that she experiences. But Ethan's kind of in favor of that stuff. I mean, we know that he's racist against Arab people, and we know he has a bit of a weird fixation when it comes to women. So is it that much of a stretch to be like, Ethan's downplaying the Islamophobia that she experiences and the misogyny that she experiences, and just says, oh, she gets called fat and ugly, which is what he's been called before. Oh, she's just been called fat and ugly. I've been called that, but I've been also called much worse. So, she's crying about nothing, actually. She just needs to suck it up.
I told her I would cover if she wanted to drop out.
But now you are saying that you didn't have a problem with any of it until I made the video.
I was totally on board until the organizer put out a video calling me a psychopath for harassing his friend.
Obviously, Ethan and Neela will victimize themselves every chance they get. But when they have the chance to victimize someone else who's on their crew, they'll also do that.
You already forced Lena into this horrible situation. And again, you forced this situation on her.
Why would I do such a thing to Lena? Dude, you have as much agency as I do. You didn't have to badmouth me on your podcast. That was a choice that you made.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
Oh, the organizers of this event are not jumping to my defense? All right, well, maybe instead of shit-talking them, maybe I should zip it.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree. You already forced Lena into this horrible situation. And again, you forced this situation on her. By the way, iDubbbz, Lena's fucking having a panic attack.
So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
But you're just lobbing it to me and Anisha.
Yeah, I mean, he in his response video, he's like, how can you bring the crew into this? We need to leave the crew alone. But then he uses the crew whenever he feels like it. He'll say, how can you bring the crew into it? And then he brings the crew into it and is like, the crew's freaking out because of you. You're actually a piece of shit.
I'm lobbing it back to you. You're the one who brought it up. If you lob it back to me and you say, well, I didn't have your back publicly. Well, fuck you. I'm going to lob it back and say, you're being irresponsible on your podcast and you're not taking any accountability for the shit you're putting out online. I think that's going to do it for this video. There's a lot more that I can share, but I'll save that for the future. And in closing, I will reiterate so that, you know, there's no ambiguity about it. Anissa and I are no longer involved in Creator Clash. We're stepping down completely. We hope that the event is a massive success this year. We hope that all of the fighters get what they wanted out of it. I'm sorry that I'm such a fucking nasty person who just wants to roll around in the shit. I'll put the link to Creator Clash down in the description if you want to support them in their mission to get creators to fight and raise money for charity. You can do that down there. I will be doing that on my own, and I hope you guys have a good time. Also, for all the people who touch grass, I want to remind you to click the like button on this video, not so it goes in your algorithm or anything, just specifically so that we can add a counter narrative or I can get an idea of how much astroturfing is out there, because I know that a lot of these fuckers, they love their dislike button extensions. And I saw that shit and I was like, what the fuck? These are all like fabricated numbers. The like-dislike ratio was like 80-20 on my video, and then they tried to create a narrative of like, no, people actually hate this content cop, guys. It's actually so much worse. Like, bitch, like, people were more upset with, like, my wife being on OnlyFans. You're not gonna convince the internet that fucking Ethan Klein isn't being a piece of shit. Like, sorry, guys. It doesn't matter how many dislike extensions you have.
We can free Palestine.
Anyway, this was a pretty chill video. I mean, not a whole lot that we learned here. And I don't know. I mean, the top comments. I don't know who's watching this. Like, if you're subscribed to iDubbbz, aren't you subscribed for dumb internet drama? Why are you acting like, wow, I can't believe he's making internet drama? Like, what content is he making? Like, I get how, like, normie YouTube watchers might watch this. The fuck? How'd I end up on Vosh? iDubbbz TV. What's the last video he made? Excuse meme, Mr. President, Content Creator Clash is back, pickle. So he's just making dumb videos, and now his audience is acting like they're above internet drama. Okay, sure. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna end it here. Let's see. Let me try to show you what I got with this. This is such a cursed drawing. I need to get better at like drawing the hair. Anyway, just a drop of understanding, just a drop of empathy once Ethan takes his first two skulls at Creator Clash. Understanding, empathy. Anyway, that was like not too bad of a video. I'm gonna head off, guys. I guess next time we're gonna watch Ethan like his latest podcast. Dear Hasan, you lied again, because I think there were some interesting things there. But I'm going to be covering some other stuff too. I do want to talk about like John Fetterman, because I think he could be a cautionary tale of what happened with Ethan Klein. But I guess John Fetterman's an example of what a Zionist married to a non-Zionist looks like. So maybe a little bit different there. And then just other YouTube shit in general. Like, once again, I am watching these because I want to make videos covering them, make like edited videos so that it's like a self-contained thing and people don't have to pour through my hours of content that I'm putting out there every day. But it is getting tiresome. It's like 3 times a week, 4 hours of time 3 times a week, and the guy just doesn't stop saying stupid shit. I hope Ethan stops for my own sanity. So anyway, guys, I'm going to head off now, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.